Hello and welcome back to the How Long to Beat podcast, a podcast about video games and how long to beat them, made by the members of the community for members of the community. My name is Matt, and I'm with Leah.
Hello.
Diallo.
What it do?
Roy.
Hey.
And we have a special guest that I'm gonna introduce in a second, because today's episode is gonna have a special theme. We will be talking about one of the many communal events on the HowLongToBeat.com forums. Probably the longest running event. Because in the forums we have the Game of the Month events where members of the community nominate and vote games to play each month and then discuss them throughout the month. And we are gonna recap those games of the months from 2024 in this episode. And for that, we got the brain master of the event, or one of the brain masters of the event, the wielder of the threats for Game of the Month, and the collector of the stats. We got user Knalb with us.
Hello. And I prefer the word Fred Master.
Fred Master.
I will say this. This was running up before I actually joined How Long to Beat. I just took over creating the threads and then started creating stats for him for when we had the 10th anniversary. But I basically after that decided to just keep the stats and then started poking the podcast to say, I want to tell you everyone about these bloody stats.
Right.
Nice. Excited to have you.
So Hold on. So since when have you been doing these threads? When did it start? I mean,
it's been 10 years, over 10 years now, actually. In fact, we are, no, it's 10 years. Actually, February is when the this year is for when the first Game of the Month happened.
Holy crap.
Wow. I think I was like 2 years before I actually joined to the Game of the Month. But yeah, next month will be the 10th year anniversary for Game of the Month.
That's incredible.
We'll have to nominate some big game for it.
Yeah. What I was thinking for next month is actually we have a special. I'm going to actually talk about this in the chat in Discord, where we have 2 games.
Oh shit.
The normal nomination and a game which came out in 2015 as our Game of the Month for that special.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Oh, clever.
All right, and before we go diving deeper into the Game of the Month, I would like to give a shout out to some other community events that we got going on, especially since we are still early in the year. It makes sense to give a shout out, especially to the yearly game challenge that is put together by user Finadorb, which if you're into playing games according to a set list of categories to fulfill them, that sort of challenge. Right now is probably the best time to join that. That's been going on for a couple of years. I've been taking part in that a couple of times in the past, so here's just a little shout out to that.
I believe I've taken part every year since it started, actually.
Damn.
Oh.
Although I've never finished all the whole game list. But they're doing a pretty neat thing this year where you get different tiers and medals for lower levels of completion, so I might be able to get that.
Yeah, I can't blame anyone who hasn't actually done it in 1 year. That is like 2.
Yeah. I've actually been hoping that maybe the website would put the little bronze, silver, gold on like your profile every year if you complete enough challenges. Just like a little trophy collection.
Well, you gotta go talk to Everett about that if you want that.
Yeah, gotta harass the admin.
I did actually post it in the Discord, and I saw people agreeing it would be good. I think I added Overdrive. I don't remember if I got a response though.
Well, maybe someday.
Maybe.
I know we know he's busy, so
Ever busy.
enough about that for now. So our special guest Knalb, I think before we really go into the meats and potatoes of this theme today, I think it's only fair if you get a couple minutes of telling us what have you been playing recently? Anything good?
Yeah, I have to say they are good. So let's keep this quick because I have a lot to talk about these games because we have a big juicy amount of talk about with the Game of the Month. So first, my 2 podcast games, American Truck Simulator. If anyone's listened to the last year's one, I'm still playing it. I have got 80 achievements of 110. I'm still working my way through it. Background stuff. I like it. It's nothing spectacular, but I enjoy doing it while I'm watching TV and such. I used to Euro Truck, but my save crashed because I used mods and they updated it and crashed the whole mod thing. So I had to retire that, and I replaced it with a game called House Flipper. either this one, you take a house and then you just basically paint, change up all things, clean it up, put in new decorations, new furniture, and then you then sell it off to the highest bidder, basically. That, again, simple game, nothing spectacular, but it's a good game to play while you're watching TV.
I love House Flipper.
Yeah, it's fun, actually, yeah.
What I'm wondering about both of these games, American Truck Simulator and House Flipper, because I don't play those, and it makes sense that they are like prominent titles in this like sub-genre of like podcast games or whatever. It's like casual gaming. But do they actually have campaigns? Are you actually like playing a campaign, or is it just like an endless thing?
American Truck Simulator is endless. House Flipper kind of has a campaign. It has like a set of jobs which you can do, which basically then gives you a list of things to do for different places, like buy these objects, clean it up, paint. But then it goes into where you can buy the house itself, and then you do what you please with the house. But it basically it has like a campaign which goes to the end, basically.
It has like a little bit of direction, but then you can just go sandbox forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Finish the campaign and then it's open world in the house.
But do you furnish the houses after your own tastes, or just like what brings the best like in-game moolah or whatever? Like, is there? I wonder.
You can do that way, but
you don't do that.
The idea is that you're trying to sell the house on. So
Right.
You can buy a house which you just want to keep for yourself, or you can just move it on to someone else, basically sell it off so you can buy the next big house. But yeah,
Any game that lets me achieve the fantasy of owning a house immediately grabs my attention.
Fuck.
Mood.
Yeah.
Another one that's like House Flipper in that genre is Electrician Simulator.
Sorry.
It's basically the same thing where you just go around. Electrician Simulator, you go around, like they tell you like my lights aren't working, or like, and there's little emails that come in, and then you have to like put together, fix the house. There's like a pub you have to put together for somebody. And there's a lot of weird things in the emails where you're just like, if you don't read the emails and just go, okay, connect job, whatever. But like if you read the emails, you're like, what's happening in this house? Why are the lights off? Like there's a lot of weird, strange things, but it's another one of those things you can play for like an hour and then just be like, all right, I'm done with this. Just listening to something else.
I love these like super niche just chore simulator games that we got today. Like anything that you can imagine. It's so cool, kind of.
Like Power Wash Simulator,
Right.
I imagine it's in like similar genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one developer I know of that just does like a whole bunch of them. There was one that was like recycling center simulator, and then like restaurant simulator, and then chocolate factory simulator. I was like,
Oh my
how many
God,
different kinds of jobs can you possibly make into simulators?
Truly a lot of.
And they're all basically the same thing.
Yeah.
I played a demo last year for car parking simulator, where you build a car park. So,
Oh, I thought it was just simulate parking a car.
no, build the car park.
Wow.
Exciting game.
Okay, now I want valet simulator.
Maybe we could get some practice in podcast simulator.
So let's move on to the big games we're playing. I've been playing two rather large RPGs, both quite close to
Yep,
finish.
rather large.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Dragon Quest XI first. This one, I enjoy it. Yeah, it's fun, but it's got a few things which I'm like, why is that there? Like, you can move around. It's like, it's this turn-based RPG, but you can move your character around, but it seems irrelevant to the gameplay. I don't know why that's there. I guess it's just like, give you a bit more attitude, but I don't know really why that's there. I'd say it's well made. It's got some great things. I love Metal Slimes, because, yeah, they dump tons of EXP on you when you're doing it.
Okay.
But story-wise, it's alright. I've played a lot better games out there for story. It has a few twists and turns which you don't expect, but for the most part, it's kind of a standard RPG. I have actually completed it, technically. I've beat the final boss. I'm now in the post-game section, so I'm just going to hopefully get through that, and then I'm done with that game. But yeah, it's decent enough. 8, 7 probably. I'll probably end up giving it. I have to think about that one. It's been a game which I've been playing for a long time because it was on the Switch. So it was the game I took around with me when I was actually away.
I will say, I think I'm at the same point in that game. I beat the first 2 acts. I got like the boss, or one of the final bosses, I guess, a couple of years ago. But I haven't done the post game yet, and it's been like on my backlog for quite some time. And I'm hoping that this is the year that I'll finally get to it.
I've heard the post game is quite meaty.
Yeah, apparently that's like because it's presented as kind of a post game, the credits roll and everything, and there's like this, oh look, there's more to play, but apparently that's where like a lot of the meat of the story is. So
Yeah,
when they talk about, oh, I've beaten the game, but I've only put in the first 2 acts, like, no, you have to beat Act 3. That's where the real ending is.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I thought it was a bit smaller than what I'm getting, but we'll find out.
I've heard good things about Dragon Quest XI, but from what I've heard, I definitely would not say it has the like highest concept / level story. Is how I put it.
I've played a lot better in terms of story. I like a lot of it. It's cutesy. It's quite good with a lot of the characters. Like I said, metal slimes. I like they added metal slimes in the game, where it's basically like a big dump of EXP if you can kill it easily. But well, one of the characters has a thing called critical claim, where they do a instant critical hit if you use them. So you use them, kills it instantly, and then dump of a lot of EXP. But yeah, in terms of story, it's decent. I can't complain about the story, but it's not something which is like spectacular. It's not pulling me in, you know?
Right. Which I
Unlike-
feel like Dragon Quest is usually kind of in that vibe.
Yeah, it's not Final Fantasy, which is kind of similar. That you get some really strong stories in Final Fantasy, but Dragon Quest is like, yeah, it's a decent little RPG. In terms of story, though, the other game I've been playing, Baldur's Gate 3. Ooh, that is a massive game. I was holding off actually putting down this because I was hoping to get this game completed. I have not.
No
I
chance.
think, yeah, I think I'm at the end game now, though. So spoilers, I have got all the Neverstones now, so I'm ready to actually go and attack the Absolute. Oh, I noticed.
Everybody made a face immediately, like, "Oh, you fool!"
Oh, sorry.
I'm fine with spoilers. I don't give a shit. But yeah, our co-host Diallo immediately put down the headphones.
I have no idea what any of this means.
Well, if you haven't really spoiled too much, hopefully, because yeah, the Absolute is just the main thing which goes across the things, and then it's just a MacGuffin which I'm talking about there. But in terms of gameplays, yeah,
yeah, it's safe now.
Thank you.
Safe for the moment.
I really do like this gameplay. It's quite fun. It's like a CRPG, and it's probably one of the best ones I've actually played. The other ones have been like Dragon Age and such, which is just as good, I think. But this one, really strong. I have not done D&D before, and I know this is based on it. There's certain things which did not translate well to me, though. Like, it keeps putting in 1d3 inside of the damage things, and I did not realize that meant it's using a dice roll.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like, okay, what does that mean? That is one of the big issues I have the game. The other one is the baggage. I really do not like the inventory in this game. It is a dump, basically. And you have to use the filters quite willy-nilly, and then my character is always encumbered, basically. I go around, I get encumbered, and I have to dump everything on everyone else, basically. Yeah, I like it a bit more convenient in terms of the inventory. But ultimately, this is a really good game. I really enjoy the characters in this game. They all seem to be tied together in the story, except for maybe some of the extra companions that you get at the end. I won't spoil them, but there's definitely a companion I love at the end. Yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that, but
good.
I heavily recommend Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm hoping to complete this by the end of the week.
Ooh, best of luck. That's another game that's on my to-do list for this year. I picked it up towards the end of 2023, and then I put it down accidentally. But then, like, I've been wanting to get back into it, but every time I go to replay it, I'm just so intimidated, like, trying to, like, relearn everything and, like, look at my quest log and all the, like, the different narratives that were in motion. I've just, like, intimidated to dive back into it. But I hope that, one of these days I'll sit down and actually reacquaint myself.
I'm going to try not to spoil anymore, but I am really enjoying the fact that a lot of those quests start to get back intertwined again in Act 3. So you start seeing how everything merges together into the main storyline.
That is quite cool.
Yeah. I believe every companion quest has something to deal with, dealing with the ultimate end game story, basically.
Okay.
And it's so well concise and controlled in how it does this. And it really is well dealing with how you actually talk with your companions, and also how choices you made previously affect you. And these things are it's just really good for what it is, basically.
So I heard, yeah. Nobody dislikes the game.
Yeah. You can see why it won Game of the Year, basically, when it came out in 2023.
Right.
So I have completed one game. I'm not going to talk about it now because it was a game in a month. So get to that when we get to December.
That's right, guys. Get ready. We'll be talking about later.
Yeah.
Get that excitement going. Get prepared.
Get the hype.
I'll move straight into the game of the month then. So let's open the floor here.
What if you retired something?
I have not retired anything. I do not retire.
Yo, my man.
The only thing I retired was Euro Truck Simulator, and that was like 2 months ago, so that don't count.
Yeah.
I'm one of them guys who mostly retires some if I end up like selling it and I can't physically play it.
Nah, I have the other issue where I pick a game up, I can't put it down, even if I hate it. I completed Shenmue 3. That was an abysmal game.
God.
Oh, Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
My condolences.
Yeah.
Bro got Shenmue 3'd.
Could also go into the Itch.io games, but I'm not going to bother with those ones. If you want to see my opinions of the Itch.io games, go to the Itch.io thread. Yeah, I can't even remember bloody names of the games now.
You mean the itch mess stuff?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, the itch
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, yeah. Thankfully, we already did a full episode on that, so you don't have to talk about any of those. Yeah.
He doesn't have to talk about pipe.
Unfortunately, I cannot force you to talk about pipe.
Are you going to hate me for this? Because I didn't like pipe. I found it
You
too
like
short.
pipe?
I didn't like pipe.
Yeah.
Too
Oh,
short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was with you on that one.
Yeah. And like, I get why people liked it because there's a lot of hidden things, but I just want to do the linear move. So 2 minutes long, no, too small. But yeah,
Right, fair enough.
It was just okay.
Anyway, that was previous episode.
Yeah. We don't need to get that back.
We don't have to pipe it in.
yeah. Well, we're going to pipe into this now, you know. So let's get into the month recap, shall we? All the games which were chosen. So.
Pee pee poo poo, editing Matt here. Just coming in real quick to warn you that there might be spoilers for the games that we are about to discuss. Feel free to use the timestamps in the description to skip any games that you would like to be careful about. Pee pee poo poo, editing Matt out.
First game for January, actually nominated by the previous host, Abatage. This is Pony Island.
Hell yeah.
So,
Yeah. This I would say I forget if it was Matt or someone else gifted me this game for the game of the month. And then unfortunately I got busy for like 2 weeks and didn't play absolutely anything, and I need to get back to actually trying to play it.
I don't even remember if I was it, but I could imagine I did that thing because I love the developer and I would get on any chance to give the developer more money. Danny Mullins rules. I think two episodes ago when we talked about our opinion forming games or whatever, I mentioned Danny Mullins as well as one of my favorite developers ever. And yeah, Pony Island, I mentioned that then as well. Like, that game rules. I did not play it for Game of the Month, though, to be clear. I played it before it. But I was very happy when it was nominated for Game of the Month. That was a good start to the year, in my book.
Yeah. I will agree. It was nice and short, so I was able to get on to other things I wanted to play. And it actually did a lot of good meta-narrative. Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of the main story, the hell idea. Like, you're basically stuck in hell being a tester. I wasn't too happy. I wasn't interested in that, especially with the fact that they were a Templar. Okay, what's that got to do with being a game tester, basically?
If I can say, though, I think out of all the more prominent Daniel Mullins' games, I think story-wise, Pony Island is actually the weakest. I think as other games have much more interesting concepts.
Yeah. And one of the things I really enjoy is that when you're doing the game with one of the bosses, you actually it asks you to put in a swear word, your best swear word, and then it gets someone in your chat to actually come up and say your swear word's shit.
Yeah.
That ruled. Yeah.
I will say Pony Island is the second Daniel Mullins game that I played. I was coming off of Inscription, which I loved. We mentioned this during the first episode, but that was also a game that I was considering as one of my foundational games. It totally blew me away. So I just finished Inscription. I was like, oh, I really am interested in what this developer has to offer. I want to check out more of his games. So Pony Island was the second one that I played. I will say I really enjoyed the meta-narrative aspect of it. I thought the story was doing interesting things. I just did not enjoy the gameplay so much. I found it to be like a little bit tedious. I didn't really have fun. Like I was like, okay, interesting when I was playing, but I didn't have a fun time playing it, I guess.
How does it play? Like what? Like I like since I was the guy who didn't get to play. Like, what do you do?
It's a mix of puzzle elements and like run and shoot sequences, basically.
Like an endless runner with the
All right.
sections, and then you have like the puzzles. The endless shooter section is basically you're supposed to be stuck in hell section. That's testing stuff, and the puzzles outside it is where the interesting stuff happens. Really,
Yeah.
Right, because the puzzles are like coding,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like not real coding, but
Fake
like
coding.
like
yeah.
logic puzzles.
yeah,
yeah.
And it starts off like relatively straightforward, like, oh, a basic arcade game, and then it gets progressively trippier, and like degenerates more and more as the game progresses.
Yeah,
I think I heard about this from when it was reviewed, or at least some sort of Kotaku article about it way back in the day. And I had it on my wish list until eventually, I guess it was on sale and I bought it. And I had retired it because for some reason, anytime my cursor went out, it would click out of the game.
No.
And then I would die in the game by the time I got like back into the game. And it was like super frustrating for me.
That sucks.
Like after 2 levels or something, I was like, I can't physically deal with this anymore. So like deleted it. So it was only because of Game of the Month that I actually was like, let me give this another try. If other people are going to be talking about it, like I want to be a part of this conversation. So I went back and I played it. But what was funny about that that one section where they pull up your Steam friend is they picked the one person that hadn't been online in 4 years.
Oh God.
Yeah. That was exactly the same for me.
So it was like, oh, clearly this is not this this person would never randomly like instant message me out of nowhere. So I was like, okay, well.
Can you imagine if they did?
Also, it didn't help for me the fact that I actually put down I completely created my own. I put down Cunterific, and yeah.
Great.
So yeah, this show is like, I don't know about Cunterific, so what the hell are you on about? This must be the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
But it was good. I'm interested to play other stuff by him. I don't think.
Yes, you do.
I am interested in the next. What was the next? Pony Island 2 is coming out, right? So.
Oh, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So a huge turnaround for me from retiring it to completed to waiting for the sequel. So.
Well, in terms of time, shall we talk about the next one then? Shall we?
Yeah, let's move on.
Oh, this one's a biggie. February, Final Fantasy XII. Nominated by HLTB 1999. From the looks of this, why am I the only who's actually played this a bit?
So I've played it, not when it was Game of the Month. I've played it I got maybe about halfway through, and then I accidentally put it on the back burner, and then it's been, I guess, maybe 3-4 years now since I've last played it. I want to finish it eventually, but
yeah, this one was a game that I was like a teenager. I picked it up, and this was like I used to get like most of the Final Fantasy games when it came out. So like I had like 7. I then moved on to 10, and then I got into 12 here. And I dropped this one quite quickly because I wanted the standard turn-based system, which this didn't have. It was like I don't know what the whole thing was. It's like you like programming each different character, and I just was getting tedious just waiting for things to happen. So I just retired it.
That's it. The gambit system is optional, isn't it?
I don't think it is. I think you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can switch characters at times and you can control them yourself, but it's not like you have a list of things which you can do and then do them afterwards. You actually have to switch between them, and so you need to set up the gambit system for each different character. And yeah, at the time I just didn't have the patience for it, so I dropped it, and I've not picked it up since. I don't own it anymore, so I have no intention of coming back to it.
So my relationship with this game is a bit weird, is how I'd put it. So I've mentioned before there was a long period where I didn't have money to get new consoles or new games and stuff. And Final Fantasy XII kind of came out with that time period. So I've watched a lot of this game cutscene wise and all that, and been very interested, like on YouTube and stuff. But I didn't own it until probably a few years ago. So I'm really interested and invested in it, but I haven't actually popped it up and played it. Even though like I know a lot of the story. It's one of the Final Fantasy games I'm actually most interested in. Just I've not gotten around to it.
Yeah, I can see that, but it's just not in my wheelbarrow. Basically, it's not the one which I want to go to. I think if I'm gonna pick up the next one, it'll be 9. I have not done 9, and I've heard
9's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another one that I am currently. I started it over the summer, and then I got stuck. I'm at the card game tournament, and it's
There's
Destroying me.
a card game tournament in Final Fantasy IX. That sounds dope.
There is. It's not.
Oh, damn. Okay.
It's a little cool.
Have Matt play it for you.
It's the one complaint I have about the game so far. There's this like card system, which sometimes it's fun, but most of the time it's annoying. And then there's this tournament that you have to do to progress, and it's just I'm being too picky because every time I lose a card, I restart the game. I should just like let some of my trash cards go, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let you steal a card for me.
That might be the problem.
I should let go of my perfectionist tendencies, but that's a whole other issue.
A prison of your own making.
Yes.
Just before we move on to the next game, because I imagine we're about to, I do want to shout out that Final Fantasy XII's English dubbing is very, very good. That's all I want to say.
Oh, I didn't like what's his name? Oh, I forgot his name. The protagonist.
Vaughn?
Yeah, Vaughn. I found his
Vince Vaughn?
his performance to be a little bit lacking. There's this one part where it's like, you killed my brother. How dare you? I'm like, really? That's all the emotion we get for that?
That's fair. That's fair.
It sounds like Vince Vaughn.
I like parts where they're actually like making all the dialogue in like iambic tetrameter to give it an actual Shakespearean vibe and stuff, though.
Yeah, besides him, I think there are some very good performances. Fran in particular, I love everything she says. Oh, so cool. But Vaughn stood out to me as like a very bad performance.
So actually, a general question from me here, who has never finished a single Final Fantasy game. What makes this one different from the others? I have zero idea.
Well, this is
12.
This is a big can of worms, I feel.
It is a very big can of worms, because
Give it to me in 2 sentences.
12 is arguably the meeting spot between the old school turn-based RPG and when it became more Final Fantasy 13 onward, more action RPG.
Yeah.
You know what? That was actually great. The description.
Basically, yeah, this is
Okay.
it was like turn-based.
There you go.
And this is the first one where it went real time, basically.
Oh.
Oh.
So
Also, the combat plays a little bit like a single-player MMO.
yeah,
Yes,
Ew.
actually.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm out again. I'm not interested again.
I recommend at least give it a shot if you have.
I
That's
don't know,
what I
man.
think.
That may have turned me around on it, actually.
Well, there you go.
I might have to check that out.
One is gained, one is lost.
Yeah.
So next game.
Yeah.
And look, I really enjoyed this one, and I'm glad I nominated. So it was nominated by me, lovely me. Return of the Obra Dinn. I said I wanted to get this one in last year, and I got it in, and I thoroughly enjoyed this game. So general idea: you go to the Obra Dinn. It's basically a ship that came back from empty with everyone dead involved, and you are like an insurance inspector who goes through and tries to figure out what's happened. You have like a like compass, I guess it is, where you actually see the last second of a person's death, and from there you have to figure out what killed them, how they died, and who they were. And one of the most genius things I thought from this is the fact that it does not tell you the right answer until you've got 3 correct answers. And it is so good for how it does it, and it slowly spills out. You see the whole story. It does have bits where you have to actually, just guess, because it doesn't give you all the information. There are like minor details around, and certain details get mixed up. A good example: there is a Filipino character in there with tattoos, and they look Celtic to me, so I put them down as Welsh. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that didn't help me, but overall, this is actually my favorite game of last year in terms of what I played. I enjoy it that much.
Yeah. I haven't played it when it was nominated, but I had already have it on my wish list. It looks super dope. I think I just didn't have any time or whatever in that month. But yeah, it looks great.
Oh, Matt, I think you would love this one. This is one of my favorite games. I played it, I want to say 2021, and I think it was my favorite game the year that I played it. It's just phenomenal. Just like I love solving mysteries. I love the little ditty that plays when you use the compass, like like that gets me every time.
When you actually got the right answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the best detective game I've ever played because it does not tell you outright the right answers. Like I said, that 3 note things before it gives you the right answers. So it's not holding your hand. It expects you to figure it out yourself. And then it gives you little details afterwards where you can actually start pulling names away from, okay, this person's there, that, and that, basically. It does not shut them down until, like I said, you've got enough. And there's I think it's a decent sized crew in there. 50 people, I think, were involved. It gets weird later on when you start seeing the further and further you go back, when you see how people have, what's happened, basically, what caused the accident on the Obra Dinn. Really good. It's heavily recommended by me, and from the sounds, same as you as well.
Yeah. I was considering. I mentioned this last episode, but I was considering this as one of my foundational games for episode 1. Just barely didn't make the cut, but love this game so much. Highly recommend it.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear a lot about this game. I just couldn't get into it when I first tried it. So I kind of retired it after like 2 hours or so. But everybody keeps talking about it, and everybody keeps recommending it that I should, have another go. And even friends that don't like games have told me it's a good game, which is amazing to me. So I need to get back to it.
I could definitely see people who don't like games liking this game. It's really good for what you're doing, basically.
I will say, I know some people who played this game. I played it solo, but I know some people who played it like in a group, and I think it's a good game that you can play with other people, 'cause you can all sort of like work together to try to solve the mystery. So that might be another suggestion. If you
finally, the How Long to Beat podcast game.
Where one person already knows the answers. I think we might have a problem there.
Bit of an advantage. For this game, I don't own it. I would have been all over it if I did own it, because I really want to own it, kind of thing. But I just don't own it. I don't have the money to really buy games that are not like $1 or something right now.
Yeah.
It always looked really good. Love the art style for this game in particular. It looks very good. That's probably the number one thing that drew me to it. Yes, the dithering. I'd also say, is like a bit of a random bit, the game's premise and style always reminded me of the game Echo Knight on the PlayStation 1, which is like an early FromSoft game.
Never heard of that.
Not familiar, but if it's anything like Overdrive, then I'm all in.
It is a mystery adventure game. You like go to where your dad died, I believe it is, and when you grab, I think, like a mystic watch or something, you get transported to a ship that mysteriously disappeared from sea, and you have to go around and talk to people and solve the mystery of how they died and what happened and how this relates to your dad's death. And you're basically like talking to the dead spirits of the crew.
Yeah, but no dithering, so
literally unplayable.
Yeah.
Unplayable. It's just PS1.
Yeah.
Next game, Valiant Hearts, The Great War. This was nominated by Dragon H89. This one was the game from 2023, which was nominated the most, and it finally won this year. And it looks like I'm the only one who's actually completed this game. So
yeah, this is not my type of game. Honestly, in general, last year was a lot of games that are not my type of games. So.
Yeah, I had.
Unfortunately for me, a lot of games I either didn't own, or the month they were nominated, I ended up not having the time I wanted to play them.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, this one actually it's quite impactful. This one actually, I thought it was really good. It has a bit of juxtaposition at times in terms of what it's trying to say. Like it was trying to actually go in a deep delve into what it was like in the First World War. You go around basically as a bit of a platformer, just make your way through, and then it has like different things like the race from Paris to the front lines as the medics. With the like it has this like musical series where you're actually in a cab and it's just playing that I can't remember the bloody name of that song is though, and you just have to get to the end.
Was that 1812?
Yeah, might be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the name.
This is not a classical music podcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Rude Sandstorm.
There we go.
Overture.
That was New World Order. But it had a bit of juxtaposition. It was trying to tell a heavy story with like cartoonish, and sometimes it didn't work too well. But I will say this: did have one of the strongest finales in the game which I've ever played. It was like one of the heaviest I've seen, basically, and that ending's gonna stay with me. I did enjoy this game. Again, a bit of the issue with the juxtaposition between the heaviness of the Great War and the silliness of the animations, but this I do recommend people to actually have a look at least.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, it doesn't look like you're like typical war game, so that's something that I would.
It's a platformer. It's set in.
Yeah, it's not like a military strategy.
Yeah, it's not military strategy.
I just see because I thought it was a military strategy game because I didn't even look close enough. That's just that just tells you how much I think about war games.
Yeah.
The
one other thing as well, it basically made a big name evil from the German side. It's like in the Great War, that the World War One. I feel this is the same issue I had with Battlefield 1. They had nothing to do with the German side. They always actually were working on the Allied side. So that always makes it feel like it's the good guys versus the bad guys. When I saw no good guys in the World War, the First World War. Two, well, two something different, but well.
Yeah.
Two's a bit different.
Yeah.
We can agree there.
Yo, we've all come to an agreement.
Yeah.
But I just want to say real quick that this is another game that's on my backlog I didn't get to, but it is like Obra, Dinn, and Final Fantasy XII. It's on my 300 games bucket list, so it's one of my higher priority backlog games. I do want to quite get to it at some point.
Hopefully, yeah.
I believe it's not that long too, right?
Yeah, about 4 hours.
Yeah,
it's a nice short game, really. It was like just something quickly made for Ubisoft made, and I think they did fairly well. They brought out a sequel. It's a bit weird. They brought the sequel out.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it was on Netflix. So it's like, no one got it because no one plays games on Netflix.
Yeah.
I remember because I drafted in the Fantasy Critic League, and I didn't know it was a Netflix only game, and then it never got reviewed because who reviews a Netflix only game?
It was just like, what was that then? So, of course, we have the second game for April, the Fool's Choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was again nominated by one of the previous podcast hosts. This was nominated by Pokefloor. Hatoful Boyfriend.
Let's fucking go. I want to before we even go into this, I want to say that the Fool's Choice subcategory of the Game of the Month, where we specifically nominate weird or like funny games for April, is one of my favorite things happening on the forums. And yeah, Hatoful Boyfriend, the pigeon dating simulator, was like high up on my list for Game of the Month that year. I love pigeons. This was like made for me. I named some of my reoccurring pigeons on my real life windowsill after characters from this game, so this was dope.
I just want to say, little behind the scenes thing. I love how Matt says, beat! I love pigeons. And Knalb goes, beat! Ugh, birds.
Oh yeah, do we have to fight now? Do you not like birds?
I really did not like this game, I'll be honest. It was I'm not a big fan of visual novels. It repeats itself over and over again. There was no functionality in the game, and so I had to keep skipping through it just to get to the next section. And it's like, yeah, okay, this joke's run dry for me. I was like, no, I'm not interested in this game anymore. Especially, like, just got really dark at the end if you go for the full ending. It's like, you just kill off the main character for no reason. It's like, okay.
Sometimes we just need a bit of murder.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, I'm not big into visual novels either. I get it.
Yeah.
It was, for me, purely like the wild concept and the pigeon obsession that made me get through this. That's all.
Basically, same for me. I'm not big on visual novels. I think the only ones that I've really gotten through were the Ace Attorney games, and that's because there was something else to do besides the visual novel aspect.
Yeah.
And the only reason, as much as I love birds, the only reason I went through this one was because of how short it was, and I knew I could just zoom through it and be like, be done with it. But I had this way before a Game of the Month, and then I re-downloaded it just to reinstalled it, just to replay it to see if I would get a different ending, and I did. So I'm just trying to get through it as fast as possible and got the same ending.
Should have done what you did. I went through the whole thing, got every single ending, figured out how to do it. These guides, and I'm like, oh god.
Boy. Yeah, I would never do that.
For me, I actually am a bit of a visual novel guy. Fate Stay Night, Numenico, old school kind of ones in Midway. But I don't own this game, so I couldn't play it.
Oh.
So this is actually a game I looked up a decent amount on TV tropes way back, like when it first came out and people were talking about it. That's the extent of my knowledge. Kind of a wild game from all I know.
It has good jokes in there. I'll give them that. But again, because of the visual novel functionality of it, you keep repeating yourself over and over. So a lot of these things are just like get through it quickly so I can get to the next news section I haven't done yet.
The developer clearly was incredibly passionate about these animals. I think all of the pictures of the birds were also taken by the developer themselves.
Really?
I think so. I visited their blog and website after playing the game. They are big into pigeon watching. It's kind of dope. I like the person.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
New developer found for Matt to watch.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's like a winter holiday themed sequel DLC thing I still have to look at. I wanna see what they do for Pigeonmas or whatever.
Birdmas.
Anything to add to this, Yellow?
Not really. I own this game, but I haven't really played it yet. So I first got it when I was in college. Before I had it on my MacBook before there was an English translation, and I was like, this could be a good way for me to practice Japanese. It didn't get very far though. And then I own it on PS4 now, but I haven't actually gone through it. But one of these days, I didn't realize, because I only found out about Game of the Month, I think around October or so. So had I known that about Game of the Month back in April, I would have joined for this one. But sadly, was not to be.
Well, I think we can move on to the next game. Ori and the Will and the Wisp, nominated by Dragon H89. So he basically got the April and May's nominations. This one, I'll start. This again seems like I'm the only one who played it. Yeah, I like this one. It was a really good game, but I fully enjoyed what I was playing with this one. But I feel it didn't offer too much new from the previous one. So I still heavily recommend this game. It's basically just a continuation of Blind Forest. Not as strong as Blind Forest, but still a very good game. So it's something I would recommend for people to give a go.
Can I just say real quick? I'm looking up Ori and the Blind Forest on HowLongToBeat, and the only description on there is the half sentence. Ori and the Blind Forest is a bit of a genre mix. Somebody needs to go and fix that. That's not
that is a good idea.
Yeah, that's not appropriate for our website. But yeah, that's.
But it is a genre mix.
I'm sure, but what genres? Please elaborate. This is. I
genres. What's funny, by the way, is if you look at Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition on the website, it has a full description.
Yeah, just copy it over. Somebody do. But
maybe I'll do that right now while we're doing this.
Yeah, but
I in the original Blind Forest, because Blind Forest is also one game of the month. I used the definitive edition. It looks like so we're good there.
Yeah, I haven't played either. I'm not big on Metroidvanias, and this being a sequel to a game that I haven't played, there's no reason for me to participate that month.
Yeah, see that.
I played probably an hour or two with the first one when I believe it was Game of the Month, some time before this. Got distracted, never finished it. Don't own the sequel. That's really about it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much I can really say to it. I enjoyed it. It's another Metroidvania. It's really well made, but not much else to really talk about it. If you enjoy Metroidvanias, you enjoy this. If you don't, you don't.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, quickly on to Junan.
Yeah.
So, this one's a special nomination. So, this was actually nominated by Kurbman for OrgCav 0677, who unfortunately passed away. This was his favorite game. And so, due to this, this got nominated to actually remember him by. The game was The World Ends With You.
Yes.
It seems, Diallo, you've beaten this game. Do you want to start and I can go into mine afterwards?
Sure. So I played this game. This must have been back in I played it. I started playing it when it first came out. So I guess in middle school. Never finished it. But then in 2018, I was actually thinking of applying to a job at Square Enix, and one of the for a translation role, for part of their application, you have to write kind of a fan fiction set from the point of view of the descendant of a character from a Square Enix game. And at that point, I hadn't beaten any Square Enix games, so I was like, it's wild. you can go to the job application website and you can get the full detail. But they have this whole prompt, and I was considering applying, so I was like, let me beat a Square Enix game really quickly. And I looked to see what I had around, and The World Ends With You was one of the games that a Square Enix game that I owned and wanted to play. So that's when I fully beat the game, was in 2018. Also, Matt, I see that in the notes you commented that you don't like long JRPGs, but I think that you should perhaps try this one because it's neither long nor does it play like a typical JRPG. It's the gameplay is very much unlike anything I've experienced. A little bit hectic, to be honest. People describe this as a bit frenzied because you're just kind of like wildly like slashing away at like or I guess there's a Switch version now, but I played it on the DS version, and you have to.
The Switch version is not good.
Oh no!
Well, shit.
I played on the Switch.
But mostly because, sadly, only the DS version is able to properly have the original controls.
Yeah, it got this weird combination where you're using the stylus on the touch screen and like doing all these actions, and while you're doing that, you're using buttons to operate a character on the top screen. So you have to kind of pay attention to both at once.
Yes.
Okay.
It did not work well on Switch for me.
I see where the issue is. I played this as the Switch version, and I had issues like because the character, you move the character using your fingers basically. So at the same time as moving that, anything you want to do, like the circles, the tapping, so it just got in the way. So if it could just use the cursor instead of just using the thumb pad to actually move the character around, I thought that would have actually made the game a lot better. But because everything was just controlled with the screen itself, it caused issues for me. I did enjoy this game though. It was unique, and I like the idea of what was happening here with all the controls with the badges. Lack of information was a big issue I had with this game though, because when you have the badges in, it does not tell you what type of, at least on the Switch version. This again might be in the DS version, but it did not tell you anything what those badges are. You actually had to go outside of combat to figure out what those badges were. Then you can do it in the combat. You could not find that information at all during combat. So if you have you just changed out the badges for one's had a circle, now this one needs a squiggly line instead. And you just don't realize it. It won't tell you inside of the combat. Yeah.
I don't remember if that's in the DS one or not.
I can't remember either. It's been a while.
But it was unique. I'm a bit too old for it, but it was a very angsty teenagers type story.
Okay.
But, yeah. I think it was good for that's the demographic it was aiming for. But yeah, good I thought. I'm glad they tried something like this. I know they made it as a sequel as well for this game. So that's
yes, and I wish the sequel did better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started the sequel, and then I went to save at the end of the day, and I ended up loading the file instead, and that killed all my.
Yeah.
Wow. Always sucks when that happens.
Yeah. One other thing I want to say about The World Ends With You is the soundtrack, I think, is a banger and a half. I still listen to some of the songs to this day. Like it's really good music. The sequel also has some really good music too. Shout out in particular to Bird in the Hand. That is my jam.
3 minutes clapping.
Oh, there's just so many good songs. I'm a sucker for games that take place in Tokyo and in particular Shibuya. I love to try to go to my old office in game and see how close I can get.
Right.
Oh, that's cool, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how true to real life was it in this game?
Like the layout?
Yeah. What was your office in this game like?
You can't see my actual office, but you can get to a part. You can stand where my office is and look out at some other stores and be like, okay, I know that I'm here, but
okay.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna get something like that. Now, there's no way where a game's gonna go near Bristol. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I know how you feel. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Really, really quick, because I imagine we're gonna move on in a moment. This is another one of those games. I was not able to afford a DS when it came out. I only had a GBA, but I paid a lot of attention to it when it came out through other means. When you're really poor, sometimes you gotta do that. This game always really interested me with the visuals and music, and it has a bit of a personal spot for me in some ways. I've mentioned that I do a fake Smash Brothers moveset making contest, and the first time I ever won one was with a moveset for Sho Minamimoto from this game, in fact, who was my avatar on that website for a while as well. I actually played this when it had a demo on the Nintendo Switch, and I was considering buying it. I already owned the sequel. This was back when I had a bit of an influx of cash. but the Switch version just doesn't run right. I could not get the touchscreen to reliably do what I needed to do and to play the game in a fun way.
Yeah, I have to agree there. Like I said, I completed this whole on the Switch version, and yeah, it's sometimes did not actually recognize what you're trying to do, and
yes,
it has too many issues really in a sense there. I still got a sense of the game. I did not play this on the DS when it came out, but there were definitely issues with the remake, basically.
Yeah. And there's like a second control scheme with a controller. I forget what the exact control scheme was, but I could not get that to properly work either. So I do not recommend this game for the Switch. But if you have a DS, I don't know how well it would emulate. I would highly recommend it.
I was about to say, wasn't if you're not emulating, wasn't the physical game kind of like a pricey collector's thing or something?
Unfortunately, I believe it is pretty pricey.
Oh, really?
Oh, and since Diallo mentioned this is not a super long JRPG, main story on HowLongToBeat is 25 hours. So it's not like a 100-hour game.
Yeah, but if we're going by my standards, I play like snowmobile racing games for 3 hours and then I'm done. So 25 is an eternity for me.
Okay, fair. But it's not like typical JRPG length. It's not like a 60+ hour adventure. Yeah.
Well, I'm going into games about 100 hours long, so
I've been there. Yeah. It looks like the game is actually on average only about $30 to $45 if you don't try to get like pristine graded box only whatever
for the DS version.
So it's actually not that bad for the DS version.
Okay,
so that's actually pretty fair, I'd say. It looks like it used to be around like $12 to $15, and then the pandemic doubled the price basically.
Yeah.
But I feel like 40 is still like not bad for a DS game.
Oh, for this game, it's worth it.
Also, I do have one more thought. Is that I love that like your gear is just like fashionable clothing items. I love the whole like experience of like going clothing shopping in this game, and I love how some of the shopkeeper dialogues too. There's one who goes like, "Nice, isn't it?" And I still like quote that in my head to this day, like, "Nice, isn't it?" And there's one who goes, "Thanks a bunch," and I love her.
Okay, important question though. If your gear is your fashion items, are they actually represented on the character model in the action?
Sadly, they are not.
See, I'm out. Like, come on, that's lazy.
Okay, maybe this will redeem it a little bit.
So you're the guy who goes on to Dark Souls games and just plays Fashion Souls, are you?
Yeah. I mean, I gotta see what I purchase.
Matt's gonna download Infinity Nikki next.
That's more my vibe, apparently.
See, Matt, I do love games where like when you equip gear, it shows up on your character. That boosts the game like 2 or 3 stars in my book immediately. Sadly, this game does not do that. But what one thing that is kind of interesting is that the Shibuya is broken up into these little neighborhoods, and each neighborhood has like a different popular brand. So if you're wearing like a cool brand in the right neighborhood, you'll get like an additional bonus for like wearing the trendy clothes where they're trendy.
Okay.
The trends and the brands like come into play at some point. So it's kind of you have to accessorize carefully.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Yeah,
and it mixes and it does mix into the story theme as well. Too.
Yeah,
it's very good, very unique, and enjoyed it. Even if it was a bit of sad to actually for someone's unfortunate passing, but I think it was. If it's his favorite game, I can see why it's his favorite game. But it
was a good one.
Yeah,
a good choice.
Let's talk about one which I have issues with. So July.
I'm curious about this.
Sunset Overdrive, nominated by Finnaborb. So this one, really enjoyed the gameplay in this game. It's really fun, making you actually just move about as much as possible. The faster you go, the more dangerous you get. Just bouncing between locations, just make sure things were there, and just getting the good amount of streak going. I hated the story. This story was so it was so low humor type shit, you know?
Okay.
LOL's completely random XT.
Yeah, the main character was an asshole as well, and he's put up like this big charismatic genius. I was like, no, he's fucking asshole. And in the end, the quest design is so bad. It's basically, okay, here you are, here's your quest, go grab that thing, come back. That was it. That's basically this quest designs. Humor, annoying, and it just hampered the whole thing for me, basically. Just no real reason to keep going through because I hated the story. but being the sadistic madman here, I completed it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Gotta complete it.
I didn't play this. Again, I didn't play this, but I remember like the hype was pretty big when this was announced and about to come out. I remember hearing people talk about this all the time. But then when it actually did come out, I feel like it dropped off pretty quick from general like conversations.
Remember, it was like
I wonder.
like a big Xbox One release when it first came out, and I think that's what killed it. It's the Xbox One. Basically, it was the PS3 of that generation. It just basically they got too overconfident and put a load of crap which annoyed the consumers, so no one bought the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And then they decided to stop making games for it.
Yeah.
All I remember about Sunset Overdrive is the trailer.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, okay, like I'm not giving like a single shit, basically.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
I feel like I see more appreciation for this game, like from people who played it 10 years ago and really liked it. But I feel like when this game came out, I heard nothing.
Yeah.
They went on to create Spider-Man after this, and you could see they actually took a lot of inspiration from that for getting the first of the Spider-Man game.
Oh, I have heard people say that.
Yeah, and so I'm glad it was there, but they needed better writers.
Yeah, it seems like one of those things that is kind of stuck in its time. Like it was made for the time that it came out, and like it has not aged well.
It truly was a 2014 Xbox One exclusive.
Yeah.
Does sound like it, yeah.
So.
And the others are over there quite silent, so
I don't even. I haven't seen the trailer for this game. I'm not familiar with it.
Apparently, you didn't miss anything. So
yeah, I have nothing to add for this one.
The trailer is just at first it pretends to be like generic gritty Xbox shooter, and then the protagonist comes in and does some quips.
Okay, we're going to August now. Next game, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakened, nominated by R2D2 1999 again. I think it's like before we move on to the game, I think there's like 3 people who had multiple nominations, including me, and R2D2 was the best, basically. But yeah, so I haven't played this game.
One that he hasn't played?
Yeah.
Leah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Leah has played it. The only person.
Yeah, I've played it. Yeah, I played this because my best friend, I think she had just gotten a Switch or was about to buy a Switch or whatever, and so she was playing it on her brother's Game Boy Color or something like that. She had like the Game Boy version, and I was like, well, I've never played that, and this was right before Tears of the Kingdom was going to come out, so I decided to play all of the Zeldas that I hadn't played, which were like 8. Considering so this was like the first one that I was like, oh, this, I think it was like on sale or something, and I was like, all right, let me play this one first.
Did you play the original?
It was okay. I played the Switch version,
the remake.
But yeah, the remake it was kind of okay. Like I remember I ignored it initially because way back in the day, if you had like the portable version of a game was like lesser in my mind than the console. Like if you had like Link to the Past, calm down. If you had Link to the Past, it was probably like the actual game, like the main line game to me. And then anything that was on Game Boy was kind of just like they just threw that together to sell something. So that doesn't really. So I ignored them up until I think I bought Minish Cap just because I needed a game for my Game Boy Advance at the time. And I played that one and I really enjoyed the story. And I was like, wait a second, have I been slacking on like the portable Zeldas all this time? So then I went back and I played all the other ones. So this was the first one that I played. And the story is a trip, but I don't feel like anything particular. I know people love this one, but I don't like the ones that aren't set in Hyrule. So it was kind of just okay.
Where is this then? I thought it's always Hyrule.
No, it is actually fully answering that would be a spoiler.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I was about to spoil that because I know this one, but at the same time, well, basically.
But I know. But the place is Cullinan Island.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean anything to me, so
yeah. It's not a
I'm
place.
not saying I'm just saying it's not Hyrule.
Anytime that there's a game that's not set in Hyrule, you never see that place again in another game. So it's interesting, but I enjoy being in Hyrule more than I enjoy being on islands and other places that
I think
Link has never been before. So.
This one had like chain jumps in it as well, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So bit different from what the other one.
What?
But yeah.
Yeah.
It took Matt a moment to register that.
Yeah, I thought I misheard. Did you say this has a chain jump? What?
Yeah.
He's got
It
chain
is.
chomp.
That's the one, like one of the few things I know about this game.
Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Well, links are now available in Mario Kart, and they have chain jumps there, so I guess it's allowed.
Link is in Mario Kart, bro. I've been sleeping.
It's time for Matt's awakening.
Link has a motorcycle now too. So
Huh? This is nonsense.
You can unlock a motorcycle in Breath of the Wild.
yeah,
Oh well.
the Master Cycle.
The only Zelda game I ever touched was on the Super Nintendo. What is it? Link
A Link to the Past.
Link to the Past. There we go. That's the only one I ever touched, and did not beat it. So that's my only reference.
The
I
best
do want to really quickly say, Matt on this document, unlike most of these game of the months, non-long ass JRPGs, not big into military strategy, not big into Metroidvanias, don't like
Matt doesn't want to be here right now.
This is turning into an expose.
He loves Pigeon.
the final entry, not into video games.
you know I only play Tetris. You know this, so why are you surprised?
Where is Game of the Month Tetris?
I've nominated it so many times, it has never won yet.
It's because you keep nominating different games, not Tetris. Just keep nominating Tetris. You'll win.
I'm sure I'm nominated regular Tetris as well.
You've done multiple.
I feel like most people don't vote for Tetris because they think, what can I have to say about Tetris?
Oh my, those are boring people. They should see how long I can talk about Tetris.
No, we can definitely do that. We had,
How long the Tetris podcast?
1 year, we had Minesweeper, so we can have Tetris.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
and
true.
I wish I was there
That's
for that.
really, really early.
Oh, I wasn't there yet. That was
That
cool.
was your chance.
Yeah.
That would have been your chance.
Yeah, it was King M who voted that one, and then he had he then actually did the whole charade about being in the Minesweeper mines, basically.
That is one of my favorite threads on the forum. It's so good. Oh.
Yeah, when do we get Microsoft Hearts?
Get the fuck out.
That's when my internet would go out as a kid. That's the one I'd go to.
Oh gosh. Not even the pinball? The Space Cadet pinball?
I went to Space Pinball sometimes.
Good.
I think actually, to give you an idea, Space Pinball was not included on the first computer I had.
Well,
it was like pre-Space Pinball, so I could not Space Pinball.
But
it was just like
surely you had an XP system at some point, like every human being.
Yeah, I did, but I would go to Hearts before Pinball.
Okay. Anyway,
I would say this is my first Windows computer that I've had, but I don't think this even came with games.
Yeah,
not really.
No Space Pinball.
I don't. Yeah, we don't get games anymore. You have to pay for them now. We usually always get like things like Solid. Minesweeper.
Yeah, why don't we get Space Pinball in Game of the Month?
Nominate it.
You're nominated, dude.
Nominated.
But just real quick for Link's Awakening. Have not played this one yet. Is in the backlog. It is actually in the top 100 of my 300 games bucket list, so I will get to it at some point. I just haven't.
Oh, so we've got Matt there who just doesn't want to play because he's not into games, and then we've got you. Who's got, like, a big list of things that you just get.
I'm really into games, but only theoretically.
It has to be in the list, but put it in.
I literally don't think I played or beat a single game of the month last year.
Again, last year was also just extraordinarily rough for me with Game of the Month. Just the year before that was much better. We should have talked about that.
2023 part 2.
There were only 3 games this year I didn't beat. So
damn,
you got me.
Yeah, you're carrying this.
Thank goodness, because if you didn't beat them, I don't know what we would have talked about for some of these.
Yeah.
I'm not off to a good start on the Game of the Month this year either, but I will play. At least I've actually beat Paper Mario before, so I could have talked about it in theory.
It's Paper Mario this month.
Yeah.
I just haven't. If I have the means to do it, I just have to find the motivation.
I mean, it's good. It's good.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I just have been so lazy for some reason this month. I haven't had much video game energy. But
for me, it's been a case where a few days ago, I had to go out and walk and do a bunch of other stuff for 6 hours, only to be told I had to come back with an appointment. So it's like, I don't feel like playing a game when I get home.
Yeah.
And it's just been some stuff like that happening this month for me.
And I just don't like video games.
Welcome back to the We Don't Play Video Games podcast. I'm your host.
It's me. You just have to listen to me all the time. Why are you not
That's
speaking?
fine.
It's me. So let's move on to the next game, shall we? September. The next game, Bully, nominated by Cam Sim. So, yeah. Again, I'll quickly go into this one. I played this one for this game of this month. Bully. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Very old style Grand Theft Auto, I thought. Felt like basically I was playing GTA 3, but it was in a school setting. Wish it had a bit more to do with the school a bit here and there, but I enjoyed it for what it was. They could show that they can actually move the GTA system and put it into a completely different setting, and yeah, worked. All I can really say.
So, of course, I haven't played this either, as usual. But for a change of pace, this is actually one I would be considering playing at some point. I'm not big on GTA, but I did like Manhunt, and I like the idea of bullying children here. So I am a true gamer after all. But yeah,
Don't you not actually bully kids in it, though?
I mean,
what do you mean?
You get into scuffles with classmates and stuff, and you can like prank them and stuff. I feel like what you can do in this game is considered bullying.
You can pull wedgies on people.
I have no idea. I really only heard about it like
you can
through
throw
other
firecrackers at people.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Some light terrorism in a school setting. Love it.
Fuck.
From the creators of Bully Terrorists.
They replaced the gun with slingshot.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple, I guess, not maybe false starts. I don't know the best way to describe it, but so me and this game go back to Bully Scholarship Edition for the Wii back in 2000, whenever that came out. I was so excited for this game because it sounded like so cool to little preteen me, and this was one of the first rated T games I was allowed to play, actually. So I was super stoked for that. But I played a little bit on the Wii, didn't end up getting super far, and I have so many games on the Wii. It was just like that period of my life in general where I started playing games. I was like, this is really cool. I just never played them again. Bully was one of those. But then I bought it again on PS4 a couple years back, and I started it up. It was probably around like 2020-ish. Played it for a couple hours, and then kind of got distracted by other things. And then last year in September, when I saw it was Game of the Month, I was like, okay, this would be a good time for me to revisit this game. Maybe I'll finally see it to completion this time around. So I started a new file, played it a bit. I got through, I think, like the Halloween mission and maybe a couple things out. No, I think I beat like the first. I think I finished all of Chapter 1, and I got to the part where you can like get to more of the city and sort of like explore beyond the grounds of the school. But I still am getting distracted. Like I'll play it for a little bit. I'm like, this is cool. I'm finally gonna beat it this time, and then I'll put it down for like a couple weeks and then forget about it. And so I'm currently in like the having forgotten about it phase. But I do, whenever I play it, I enjoy it. I love a game that'll let me like live my little boarding school fantasy. I think it's fun. I will say that on PS4 it runs not great. Like I think it's just like you're like emulating the PS2 version or something, and it's like maybe like 20 frames per second. It's a bit clunky, but I'm still enjoying it the little bit that I've played.
It's one thing which I don't understand. Is like this is supposed to be like a new the main area in the US where the boarding school is. At times, I'm looking at it thinking, this looks like a British shit, stuff which happens in Britain. It's like, is this supposed to be in America?
I thought it was set in the UK. Isn't it also developed by a UK?
Yeah, it's Rockstar. They'll be up in Edinburgh.
It's Rockstar, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but it has some trappings where it's like, yeah, this is British mentality stuff, which I've seen here.
Yeah, that's the part of America that still wishes they were part of.
Oh, how do you feel like you take that 13 colonies? I'm happy to have them.
Yeah. I played this back on the PS2 way back in the day, but I got up to a certain part and then paused the game because other things were happening and doing other things. And then like 20 16 maybe. I was like, you know what? I would like to. I got into this thing where I was like, I'm going to sit down at my desk at work, and like on my breaks, I'm going to just watch like the stories of games that I hadn't finished, just to see like what ended up being the thing. And it turns out I was right before the final boss of Bully. So to me, I feel like I've beaten this game because I got up to the boss. I just didn't get the credits. So
oh man, I relate to that.
So yeah. So that's why I put retired / beaten, because like to me, I feel like I pretty much did all of the game. I just didn't get through the final boss.
I give you credit for that.
That was very funny, just sitting there being like, are you kidding me? I have 5 minutes left to this game, like 15 years ago? Crazy.
I remember with the first Legend of Zelda, I beat all the dungeons, was getting ready to go to like the final boss. My save data wiped itself.
Ooh.
No, that sucks.
That was me in Wind Waker, like right before the Ganon fight. My memory card corrupted itself.
Wind Waker's a tough one to get through too.
One of these days I'll see it through to completion.
I remember.
I love Wind Waker, but all that sailing, man.
Maybe the HD remake would be better for the replay.
Yeah, I actually do. When I moved back to the States, I realized that I now have access to my Wii U, so that would be the one that I would try, I think.
Sorry, I have to interject here with some Bully stuff. I'm scrolling through the Bully thread on the forum, and I'm seeing updates from you, Knalb. And one of those is just 12th of September 2024, 10:25 p.m. Just went around picking up rubber bands. That's it. That's this exciting.
What else do you need in life?
What else do you need? You're totally right.
Oh, I had a list of things on the mini map. Just went pick stuff up.
What do you do with rubber bands in the game?
What do you think? You're a bully.
No, I think I think you need them for like. Aren't they a currency to unlock special moves and stuff, or is that something different? Or are they just a random collectible?
No, that's the transmitters.
That's the transmitters. That's right.
Yeah, I think they're just like a standard collectible. You know, you end up getting them, and then it gives you like some sort of achievement or a new.
It's wild. I'm holding a rubber band as we talk about rubber bands.
That's funny.
Synergy. I just figured you'd be snapping it at students until it swacks them in the head or use them for a slingshot. So.
Surprisingly enough, they're not a weapon. You can use marbles to like trip people. You can throw firecrackers. You've got a slingshot. You can use stick bombs. You can skateboard.
Oh! Okay, I'm sold.
That's really gonna get bullied.
It's everything I want to do right now.
Matt's just gonna ollie out of here and just go skateboard somewhere else.
He ends up not even playing the video game. He just goes to a skate park.
Just bully IRL.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is new?
Just remember to collect those rubber bands.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, that's me getting all collectibles. Well, triple creature feature time. So the free game for October. So let's start with the game I nominated, Inside. Yeah, this one was by the creators of Limbo, and you could see where they came from. This was basically more Limbo, but they actually created quite an interesting world, basically. Tells the story without a single line of dialogue. It's all just stuff which happens in the background. But it's fascinating what the world is like. It's basically storytelling like Elden Ring and Dark Souls. Like it's not fully telling the story, but you pick things up by just what you see in the background and such. It is great, I thought. Nice and short, about 3 hours and such, I think it took me. And I'm glad I played it. Bit trial and error at times, and certain puzzles went on too long, I thought. So I'm going to spoil one puzzle. There's like one puzzle where you have a cage fence which you can climb over, and a blocked door where you have to pull the hinges off. But you have a set of docs who are trying to chase you, and if they catch you, you're dead immediately. So the way to get around that is that they can't go over the cage where the fence, so you have to keep jumping over the fence, get them to the other side, go over the other fence, pull the thing off, and go back. You have to do that 3 times before you can get into the other side. So things took a bit too long at times, but I did enjoy this game. It was good for what it was.
Knalb was looking at this list where it says nope, backlog after saying that.
Here's the thing, though. You mentioned Limbo, its predecessor, pretty much. Which, I mean, that alone has a pretty prominent standing as like one of those indie games during the boom of like PC indie game development.
Right.
And like I still have to catch up with that. And I still haven't played that yet. So Inside is even
you can
further
play
back.
Inside without playing Limbo. They are not connected.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, I feel like you don't need to play one to play the other.
I'd imagine, but I kind of like I'm especially lately really interested in that time of indie development, and like I really would like to see the like so kind of origins of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe next month you'll be giving us some games from that then.
Maybe, actually. Maybe.
Limbo. I do recommend Limbo as well. That is a good game as well to play through.
So I've heard for 10 years.
Yeah.
I believe this is a game I either got gifted for the game of the month, and like I think I did boot it up. But I don't think I got far enough to say it's like not on my backlog, basically. Or I purchased it when it was like really cheap on sale and managed to scrounge up like a little bit of cash kind of thing. Seems really interesting. Also have Limbo. Also interested in that.
Recommend both, really. And they're small, short, like I said, about 3 hours long. But yeah, it tells a quite concise story. Yeah, difficult trial and error style of puzzle platformer. But yeah, I think it's like one of the better ones. It's really concise controls, and it allows a bit of leeway here and there. But it can sometimes it likes it trial and error a bit at times.
Yeah.
Any further, or should we move on to the next game?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, so we get moving to that then. So Death's Dawn is the next one, nominated by Camsin. So why didn't you start, Leah?
Yeah. So again, a bird game. So I went looking for a bunch of games to play that featured birds at one point. And this was one of the ones that I was playing. But again, it's one of those that's like a Souls-like game, and it's kind of pretty difficult being a Souls-like. So I had to pause this. But when it came back around for Game of the Month, I decided to pick it up again. But I noticed a lot of people were having the same issues as I was. So I do want to finish it because I've watched a few people on Twitch play it, and it seems like it's a real fun game if you can get through it. So since I saw a lot of people having, I
said it's just the actual getting through it part.
Yeah, it's just getting through it part. So while that month, it was kind of like a pretty stressful month for me. So I was like, I can't also be playing this and getting frustrated at the same time. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm not finishing it this month.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an enjoyable little game, and I like games with birds. So
I have a few issues with it, but I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's a good, strong game. The gameplay is quite strong in the way it plays. In terms of the Souls-like stuff, I've played harder games, I'll be honest. The issue I have in terms of that is that their way of doing that is basically dumps you into arena and then throws as many enemies as it possibly can at you until you finish that arena. So weak in terms of that design, but did like some of the bosses there. They're quite good actually. Don't have really much to say about this game. I just thought it was an average, okay game. Dropped top-down hacky slashy thing. Played better, played worse. Haven't got much else to say about it really.
But you did finish it as always, huh?
Yeah, I finished it. Like I said, I'll get again. So I'm like, I'll finish. It's the way I am.
I of course haven't played it. No surprise here. But this is on my wish list because similar to Leah, I do like birds, and I did like a lot how this looked from the presentation standpoint. I'm not usually one into like the difficult sort of Dark Soulsy sort of stuff, but this is one I would really like to give a shot at some point. I guess if I owned it, I would have probably joined this that month, but didn't happen.
Yeah.
And while Matt didn't have it, guess who has it in his backlog but didn't actually play it during the Game of the Month? I'm pretty sure I either got this for free on Epic or it was like part of a bundle I just happened to get.
I think I'm in the same boat.
Protagonist looks good. Like, yeah, there you go, buddies. But I think Protagonist looks good. I really don't know much of anything else about this one, so I don't have even my backlog bit to say.
It has moments. I did enjoy dealing with the granny because I'm not going to spoil anything. Like it's like the basically is dealing with death and how people try to actually escape from it or just embrace it. But it has some interesting moments here and there, but it wasn't something which piqued my full interest really. Just a game which I put in the middle of the pile and just say, yeah, this was good enough. People probably enjoy it. I enjoyed it to an extent, but I'm not enthralled by it. So the final game for the Halloween triple feature, Resident Evil 7, nominated by R2D2 1999 again. So
I didn't realize.
While Familiar Faces won the triple creature feature.
I didn't realize how many of R2's nominations won. I guess he got it figured out.
He won 3. He won the most this last year. He won 3.
He's playing the social deduction game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to be if you want the game to win, you need to be out years for a couple of years, and it needs to be decently popular. That's the best way to get it.
Tetris.
If you keep pushing it, Tetris would win.
One day, Swordcraft Story will get back to where it started, where it nearly won, but not today.
Here's a little spoiler for you, Matt. Just nominate Tetris, not one of its 1,000 types of sequel.
Okay, I get the message. I will nominate Tetris again.
He nominates the very original Tetris for the very first computer.
The PC one, yeah.
The Russian one, do. Yeah. Just put on it. And then
anyway, Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7. So
there we go.
I think it looks like I'm the only one who could beat this. You tried though, Diallo. Was it too?
So okay, I could talk a bit about. So I talked in episode 1 about my experience with Resident Evil series and the kind of the morbid curiosity I have with it. A little bit of behind the scenes for the listeners is that a lot of my audio from episode 1 had to get tossed out because I had some microphone issues. So I forget exactly how much of it survived for the final cut, but basically, for a couple of years now, I've been trying to dabble in Resident Evil games. Started off with the remake of the first game, found that one very scary, swore off Resident Evil games completely. And then like a year later, I was like, but what if I played more? And so I played Resident Evil 4, got totally terrified. And then swore off of Resident Evil games again. And then once again, I picked up Resident Evil 7 afterwards. I was like, but what if? Because I'd seen a little bit of people play this on stream, and the gameplay looked intriguing. Like I could maybe be like a game that I could get into, but I had heard that it was the scariest game in the series, and so my way of getting through it was, all right, I'm gonna, because I played the first 2 games on stream, so I had my headphones on, I could hear like all the little like creepy noises in my ears and everything. I was like, we're not doing this for Resident Evil 7. If we play this game, I'm gonna play it as non-immersively as possible. So I'm going to play it in handheld mode on my Steam Deck. I'm going to I'm going to turn on all the lights. I'm going to lower the volume to like a bare minimum. I'm going to have like a Twitch stream on in the background to like to further take me out of the experience. And I'm going to play on easy mode. And I was like, maybe if I put all of those, if I add all those little buffers, I can maybe try to get this game. And so I played through a little bit of it, but eventually did get too scared. I started back in probably 2023-ish. And so when I saw that it was Game of the Month in October, or one of the games of the month for the triple feature, I was like, all right, maybe this is my cue to revisit it and try to get a little bit farther this time. So I picked it up and I discovered that where I had left off, I had basically I think 0 bullets left. If I had any bullets left, it was like less than 5. And I was going to a part where I have to go into the basement and enter a room that's full of monsters. So I was like, this is 5 bullets is not going to get me through this encounter. So if I want to play the game again, basically, I think I need to restart it. And I don't know if I have the heart to to go through the scares that I go through in the first couple of hours of the game. So
I will give you something about that basement. I had the same issue you did. I ran past I ran past those mushroom gits. Basically.
Okay. If it's doable, then maybe there's hope for me.
Run away.
Okay, I'll give that another try. I did try to do some like dodging and weaving, but I got killed a couple times. But if it is possible, it does give me encouragement. Because I just couldn't bring myself to replay to re-inflict the horror of the couple initial hours on myself.
I want to point this out. I've got open my my review for this game, and you said it was a scary game. I've got down in a negative, lack of any major scare in the game.
That's interesting. Now fight.
Well, I'm just going by like what I've heard from other people.
I don't think most people would agree with that opinion.
Like I've only played 3 Resident Evil games to completion so far, so I can't do like my ranking of the scariest like of the series. But what I've heard when I've googled like what is the scariest Resident Evil game, and a lot of people say 7. So I was.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't find the Resident Evil game scary.
I'm a big scaredy cat. I got jump scared in Tales of Symphonia, so it's easy to scare me.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever touched a Resident Evil game. Resident Evil and Silent Hill, I just ignore blinders on whenever they're.
The only Resident Evil games I have played are the one on the Game Boy and the one on the Gamecom system. So that's my experience with the franchise. Definitely,
bro has a unique experience.
Yeah. From like the theming, I'm much more a Silent Hill kind of gamer. Someday I'm probably gonna give Resident Evil a proper shot, but that's not happened yet.
I am on the inverse. I have not done a single Silent Hill. I've done, I think, let me check. I think I've done 3 Resident Evils. The first one, and the fourth one, of course. 7.
Mhm.
I've never done Silent Hill or Resident Evil.
Yeah, but yeah,
I've got a bunch on my backlog.
I don't find these
as we've
various games I've played. Like I said, Amnesia, that really give me that.
Oh, really?
Okay, you know what? Now I'm curious. What is the scariest game you play?
I think it actually might be Amnesia. I'm trying to just look.
But when did you play this?
Resident Evil. I played it this month.
No. I mean, Amnesia. Was it a long time ago or recently?
It was a long time ago. It was
because I have hard doubts that it would hold up these days, especially.
To be fair, I do remember looking at the villains and thinking, "Oh, look, that's a stupid monster." It's like, oh,
yeah, I don't know.
But I just remember hiding in the corner, just the creeping noises, just the
right.
and the monster in the basement when you're have to jump across water, where you're basically playing floor is lava.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know what the full scariest game is. I have to come back to that one and think about it. Because there are scary moments in a lot of games. But yeah, I can't think what my favorite scariest game I've played is really. In terms of Resident Evil 7, I do enjoy it a lot actually. They took the third person way it used to be built and moved it quite smoothly into first person. And there definitely are moments where I'm like, oh wow, okay, what's happened there? The first family member which you keep meeting, when he actually burst through the wall when you're actually trying to escape him, that is wow. Okay, yeah, sure, mate. But I just I've had games like that where you're actually being chased by things, and it's done a lot more frightening things. But it was great, and I really enjoyed the puzzles as well, especially when you get taken by the brother and put into the escape room, and there's only 2 ways out, and you have to figure out the way without it the right way out. Basically, if you do the right way out, you're gonna get burnt. But it is really good for what for in continuation in Resident Evil, and I think it's a good sign of the series because they keep changing it up every so often. Because it got stale after, from my understanding, it got stale after like the third one where it kept repeating itself. Then they changed it up for the fourth one, and they made it a lot better. And then again, they got stale in number 6, where I know this, where one of the main characters basically spends the whole time punching a boulder up a hill. But they then moved it back into the way I was doing in 7, and then continued on with it in 8. It's great. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's not really my style of game though, and I found those gooey monsters annoying more than anything else. and because as we mentioned in the basement earlier, I kept losing bullets because each time I tried to go for a headshot, it would just wobble its head out the way. And in the end, instead of actually being scared by the damn things, I was just annoyed by them saying, "Just stay still." So I did YouTube, and I ended up losing them. So in the end, out of frustration, I just ran past them all, and that's how I just realized I just have to run past these things if they could just get in the way. It's don't have much else to say. I think it's a good game. I wish they just kept with the family and didn't have the mushroom monsters in there, the fungal monsters. The DLC is basically because it basically what the free DLC. There was like 3 separate DLCs. I only played the free one. It basically just puts you into a mine and gives you a lot of the fungal monsters to beat. You have like more powerful weapons and such, but it's basically dealing with the part which I don't like the most, which is the combat in the game. The combat I thought was the game is the puzzles which are good in that game, and I wish it was more like that. But yeah, I do recommend it for people who want to give it a go. I think you could play it without playing the other games. Like I said, I've jumped around. I've done 1, 4, and 7. I have not done any of the others.
That's the same order I did, actually. 1, 4, and 7. Yeah, just play the first of each little trilogy, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, now I've done 2 as well. But.
For this game, I don't own it, and also I'm honestly not even sure my computer could run it. So that's about it.
Oh, you got a pretty weak computer, but they can't run the Resident Evil 7 now.
I mean, to give you an idea, I think I got this computer for about $100.
Oh, fair enough.
Roy, there's also a mobile version apparently, so maybe you can get on that shit.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? Maybe the amount I guess actually only needs a 960. Now that I look at it, so maybe I could run Resident Evil 7.
I think you should play it on your phone. I think that would be really cool.
That's what I need, a little teeny tiny.
Is it even the same one, or is it like just the same name but a different game?
No, it's an official port. It's on the Apple Store.
Oh yeah,
by
July
Capcom.
2nd, 2024.
That's fucking wild. Who does this?
That is kind of wild.
Who's the fucking
audience?
And
it was also on Google Stadia.
Yeah.
It's basically just the next Doom, basically. You can play it on your fridge.
Fuck yeah.
Obviously.
So,
why don't all fridges get Tetris pre-installed?
They should.
I would play that.
They should. What a dream that would be.
I would play that.
Well, speaking of...
While you're waiting for the coffee machine in the morning, just play around with Tetris.
Yeah. Your food's cooking, you just have to sit there, wait for the water to boil.
Oh, hell yeah.
One time at the fridge, it'll be boiling, overboiling on your kettle. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Luckily, my kettle has an auto off button. So
and that's cheating.
I could
that's
finish my round of Tetris at that point.
So, speaking back to Doom, our November choice was Doom Eternal, nominated by Thomas E., which it looks like no one here has played.
I have never played a Doom game.
Well, Leah retired it, so she's played it.
But
I played it for about 2 hours, and then I had gotten it for free, so it wasn't really... I didn't have much skin in the game to finish it, whether or not I liked it. So I just retired it really quickly.
But
I don't think I even owned this game. It was Game of the Month, but I did own the first one. I'm like a few hours in that one. Kind of thing.
That's the thing again. It's a sequel, and I feel like it's not like that surprising that a lot of people might not want to play the sequel when they don't have the previous one or whatever.
Yeah. And like this is a sequel in like a true sense for playing the first game like actually matters too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might color how I felt about it then.
Yeah, because like the story is connected. The mechanics, I believe, do slightly build off like the first game, but mostly the story part.
Oh, okay.
They've definitely done a few changes actually to make it a bit more strategic in certain places. I've heard people complain about a certain boss where it has like a shield where you have to get up close.
The Marauder.
Yeah, the Marauder. But yeah, I played the original. Well, I played the original and Doom 2016. Doom 2016 was so good though, so I can see why people enjoyed Doom Eternal. I think Abatage played it and he stated he didn't like it because it included too much platforming. So maybe that's what's causing issues there with people in this sequel. But again, this is hearsay. None. Leo, you're the only one's actually at least played a bit, so
Yeah.
not much
I've heard that as well, though. It's also like
Yeah.
I've played a couple of the older ones. Like the most recent Doom game I have played is literally Doom 3, which is also like ancient at this point. And
Were you the one who liked that game with when it didn't have the flashlight in it?
I love Doom 3, the original version. I dislike the re-release where the flashlight is always on. Like it makes it easier to see, and I dislike that.
Right, that's us.
Yeah,
but I was gonna say is that with that being my experience, the older games, I actually am curious into getting into the more recent Doom games, where I would start with Doom 2016. But again, yeah, I have heard this stuff as well. With there's like a lot of like movement features, maybe not platforming per se, but movement is a big deal, and there's kind of a hack and slash element, I think. And I'm not actually sure if I'm gonna vibe with that when I actually get to it at some point.
it's a lot.
I'd say with the hack and slash, it's maybe not like a pure hack and slash. It's more like
the glory kill stuff.
There's a mix. Yeah, the glory kill stuff, but I wouldn't say it's like a hack and slash.
Yeah, all it is just a single press when they start flashing when you do the Doom 2016, and it's basically just keep moving around and you just shoot things
right,
like a Sunset or Overdrive in a sense.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest hack and slash element is I know that like is Doom Eternal took some inspiration from like Devil May Cry, but not in having melee weapons, but more like how the projectile play work, I believe.
Well, I'm gonna miss the flashlight.
It doesn't look like this discussion is very eternal, though.
Yeah.
Well, none of us has played it that much, so we can't really talk about it that much, can we?
No.
So
should we move on to the last game?
I think we should move on to the last game. So at least in this one, 2 people have actually beaten this one. So
hooray!
One of us, shocking, was quote too busy playing Tetris.
It's the
You'll
truth.
never guess
It's
who.
the truth. Yeah.
The final game for the year in December, Outer Wilds, nominated by Meowzy Dung. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this one actually. Really good. This one I thought. Loved the time loop, loved the puzzling sections. I like the whole thing was like an open world like exploration. We have the final destination which you get to. Really good for what it was going for. It has a few issues where sometimes you have to wait for a time loop to get through. And I found I was like told this like there is a person who tells you how to actually skip a time loop, but I wasn't told this in the game, and it's just like this is just a comfort which they should just given me in the up front, but they didn't. But yeah, there are times when you get lost here and there, but I really enjoyed this one. The DLC as well, worth playing through. Love the ending of that one. I'm not going to spoil it because it looks like you, Darlow, haven't completed it yet.
Right.
But that was another bittersweet ending I love those bittersweet endings, and that is a good one for a DLC. The whole thing was just a great great puzzle. I won't say little, it's like 20 hours. But everything just starts branching out, then merging back together. So those ones are really good, and that's why this is really good for what it is. So I'll hand over to you, Diallo.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think that Outer Wilds is a really interesting game. Does a lot of stuff really well. I did have some frustrations, but I'm a sucker for a time loop. So any sort of time loop mechanic, that already gets bonus points for me. But yeah, I played the base game probably like 2020-ish, and I'd been sitting on the DLC for a while. So when I saw this was nominated for December, I finally got around to starting the DLC, and I haven't completed it yet. I think my biggest complaint about the game, or I echo some of what you said about like the having to sometimes you have to sort of like sit and wait for the time loop to advance the stage you need to be at. And there are ways that you can sort of like speed through that or speed up time a little bit, but I wish that you could have a bit more like precise control over like getting to a specific part of a time loop. Kind of maybe something like in Majora's Mask where you can like, go to the next day or like skip like 12 hours, whatever it is. Like if they had like a little bit more control, I think that would enhance the experience a little bit, because a lot of times you do find yourself just like waiting to do what you want to do. My other big issue tends to be with the controls of the game, because I feel like they I often felt like I was fighting against the controls of the ship. Like I feel like the game often put me in a scenario. It's like, okay, I know what I want to investigate next. I know like when this happens. I know like where I need to go and everything. But whether I can actually pull off the maneuvers to like get there is like a toss up. So like, I know what I want to do, but like actually executing what I want to do is like kind of not guaranteed.
Yeah, I want to point something out because you just remembered something. We're talking about some of the scariest points in the game. The anglefish and the brambles.
Oh my goodness. Those yeah, if you ask me like the scariest game I played, those people had me not people, those fish had me stressed.
The point in the game where you have to go past them as slowly as possible. So just trying to angle so you just don't actually wait them. And it's just so stressful just waiting, just to know you're far enough where they don't hear you.
I almost rage quit during the ending sequence of the base game because just like it was the situation where I know what I will have to do, but the controls are not cooperating with me, and I have to repeat it like at least like 20-ish times. It was getting very stressful, and I'm kind of running into that a little bit with the DLC is reminding me a lot about like what I love about this game, but it's also reminding me of the frustrations that I had.
It emphasized some of the worst issues I had with the game, but it also did actually give a lot of new items, and I loved a lot of things here.
Yeah.
Have you actually quick question? I don't know if I want to spoil it. How far into the DLC are you in?
So I want to talk about it in not super spoilery terms. I'm trying to figure out how I can phrase this to not give away anything for anyone who hasn't played it yet. But I have learned how to get to the other place is what I'll say.
Okay, yeah, you're not you're not to the point where I was going to complain about. I will leave that point. There's a section there which I don't like. There's another issue which you might have found as well is that at certain points, especially in the DLC, it gives you a picture image to use as a passcode to get into a certain location. And you have no way of actually keeping hold of the information.
Yeah, I had to take a picture with my cell phone, and I wish there was.
Yeah, I had to take a quick screenshot on my PC and then use that. So the fact that you didn't actually have a log on you is a pain in the ass in the DLC for that section. So that was a bit of a himper for the DLC. But ultimately, I think this was a great end game for the year. It was really good, solid game. Great puzzle game. Just everything about it is like tries to push you in one direction. Few issues here and there, like again, at times you might get lost and it doesn't actually hold your hand, so you just end up getting lost too much, and information is not available to you until you get to the ship. So of course, with the Echoes of the Eye, which takes place on a single planet, you're never going back to the ship. So that's an issue. But ultimately, I do recommend the Outer Wilds.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the ending of the DLC eventually. I've got to get back into it. I will say for the base game, I didn't use like any sort of guides or anything, but for the DLC, I do have a little guide that I'm referring to every now and then when I get stuck. There's a Steam guide that people have that offers a couple different hints. And I feel like I'm like spinning my wheels too much in the same area, I'll take a little peek at that and see if they can offer me a little bit of guidance.
I had to use a guide once, I think. All I would say is to deal with when you're on the Twins Ashes and the Black Rock. That's all I'll say.
But yeah, overall, I would second the recommendation for Outer Wilds. I think it's a fun game. I was kind of considering putting it as one of my like foundational games too, but then I think for this one, like whereas a game for like Obra Dinn, for example, I don't have like anything negative to say about it. This one I definitely do have negative things to say about it, so I felt like maybe this would not be as just I enjoyed it. There were also some complaints that I had, so I didn't feel like it was 100% representative of like my taste in games. But yeah. I think my latest frustration, when my last playthrough, or my last session that I was playing the DLC, was I knew where I wanted to explore. And so I was like on my little raft waiting to go to the area. But then like I hit a turn too hard or something and I ended up falling into the water. And I was like, great. So now I can try to like swim back to a raft, which is after like 15 minutes it didn't work. So it's like, okay, I guess I have to restart this whole loop now. And I was like, this kind of is a perfect example of my frustration with the game. It's like you make one small misstep and then like you're spinning out of control, and then you have to try to fight against gravity to crawl back to where you were previously, or just reset the loop and hope that you have better luck next run.
Yeah, try and
but-
land yourself on that damn comet. That's
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like it does a lot of stuff really well. There's a lot of really interesting and fun puzzles and mysteries to solve in the world, but there sometimes I just wanted to pull my hair out.
Yeah. Wow.
For me, this game, I don't own it. I wasn't able to afford and buy it, but I always hear extremely good things whenever anyone talks about it.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of people are like, this is one of the best games I played in the last decade, kind of thing.
It's the best out of the two outers. I can tell you that much.
Haven't played the other one.
Well, looks like we're outer this segment.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we've done all that, let's just actually go through the trivia for this series. So, I have questions for you. Let's get into the quiz then. First thing, let's talk about length, because of course, we're on a website which is dealing with the length of a game. So, out of the 15 games, it would have taken you 308 hours and 21 minutes to complete. That makes it an average of 20 hours, 33 minutes per game.
Honestly, not that bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have two questions for you in terms of this. What was the longest game of this year?
I mean, it's
Final
gotta
Fantasy
be.
12.
How
Yeah.
do we use to go first?
I don't know. Is there a point system? I don't think it matters much. I'm with Diallo on this one. Let's say that much.
I already know what I was saying.
Well, let's just get it out of the way because it's quite obvious. It was Final Fantasy
Final Fantasy 12.
Yeah.
It was 97 hours and 46 minutes overall to complete. To give people understanding, I'm using times after the month ended. I get these information as soon as the month is ended. So if anything is increased or decreased, it's not included. I'm using all play styles, average, medium. So for these play styles, so it should include in completions, just main story or the main story of the side. So it's just everything. But that is the longest game. Now on to the opposite side. This might be a bit more harder. What was the shortest game?
I have
Well,
a
I
guess
have a-
for this one as well.
Yeah, I have a pretty
Pony
confident
Island?
guess. And it would be, for me, the pigeon game, Hatoful Boyfriend.
Oh,
my-
true.
My guess is the horse game, Pony Island.
Pony Island, yeah.
I'm with Matt. I'm guessing Hatoful Boyfriend.
Because
So
Hatoful
yeah,
has like a
it's
lot
gotta
of
be
different
shorter.
endings, though. I think doesn't it have like
Well, wait, is this only for main or all times?
Well, no. Yeah, he did say, I guess I didn't think about that.
Oh, if it's all, in that case, I'm actually going to say Valiant Hearts.
I'm sticking with Pony Island. That's my guess.
So are you two? So let's just say this: Matt and Leah, you're sticking with Hatoful Boyfriend. What are yours going with?
No, I think it's Pony Island.
It's probably
yes,
Pony
going
Island.
Pony
Yeah.
Island? Okay,
Yeah.
Let's just put it out the way then. So it is Pony Island.
Yeah. Okay,
that
that
was-
makes
It's
sense.
3
Yeah.
hours 4
wow.
minutes. Valiant Hearts is 7 hours 32 minutes. Hatoful Boyfriend is 6 hours 33 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
So we've done that one. So now let's
Okay.
go for what was the most discussed game
That's.
on the forum.
Oh,
Well, let's see.
No, this is one I won't have much insight into.
I hope it's not most discussed on like on the entire internet.
How would you
oh
even?
this is really interesting. Holy shit. Okay.
It's not gonna be like Final Fantasy 12 because it's so long. It's gotta be a game that's reasonably short. It's probably a popular game that people are gonna like. People who don't normally join are going to be invested in, and probably something people haven't necessarily immediately beat. Like they're just kind of like, oh, I already beat the game, kind of thing.
If it's Zelda, if it's just Zelda, I'm gonna be disappointed. That's
I mean, I was gonna say Zelda, so I'm just gonna go with Link's Awakening.
I would say The World Ends With You, maybe.
That's
yeah,
what I
what
would
else
Valiant
is-
Hearts.
I'm gonna choose
That was
that
I
one
would say
too.
that's the other one.
Please don't be Zelda.
Oh, it could be. It could be. Nah. Now I'm wondering if it's another one, but I'm gonna stick with my Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders if it's actually Ori because it's like
Nah.
indie game, very modern indie game that's probably like bundles and stuff.
But a sequel. And
So
that already
But
filters
more
people
people
out.
might own it.
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with The World Ends With You as my guess, but I could see Obra Dinn and Hatoful Boyfriend also potentially being well-discussed games, but I'm going to stick with Twiwi.
And I'm sticking with Link's Awakening.
Right, I forgot to mention this before we got onto this, so I'll just quickly say this. In terms of threads, there was a total of 360 discussion threads. Well, posts
Mhm.
on an average of 54 posts per one. However, you're all incorrect. This one's kind of a cheat, though. The one that
It's a triple creature feature.
the triple
Oh,
creature.
shut up!
The
Fuck
best
off! Come on.
I thought that they would all be counted individually, but no, duh.
No, keep that one. So that's 39. If we could go for an individual thread, though, it was actually Return of the Obra Dinn with 31.
Huh.
So,
Oh.
Oh, I bet part of the reason that one was discussed is because people are probably trading like hints about what's going on.
yeah.
Right, I felt like a mystery game would spark a lot of discussion.
That makes sense.
Link's Awakening got 21, which is about middle of the pack. The
Okay.
smallest was actually Valiant Hearts, that's just 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Even though there was so much hype.
That doesn't surprise me much because it's like dark, depressing military game.
It was.
I feel like a lot
Do
of people
people-
just don't want to turn into that.
Do people don't like to talk about dark, depressing war?
Yeah, we've done worse dark, depressing worlds. Yeah, I just think it's just that no one actually picked it up to play that much. Sometimes you just have
Maybe.
the current one this month is not being played a lot. To be fair, you just have a weak months basically. I.e., I'm not playing it.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. Also, I also imagine sometimes I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes what month it is also like school and stuff for people who are younger.
Right. Yeah.
It can affect it definitely. Yeah. That one, the 8th one was on April though. But I will say this much: there was 14 going for the Hatoful Boyfriend, which is the same month. So it was kind of weak, to be fair.
All right.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they got split between Bird and War.
Difficult decision. The pigeon, the bird of peace as well. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So many
Actually,
comes
layers.
full circle.
Okay, quickly. Hatoful Boyfriend was second, worst, so it might have been the month as well. To be fair. Anyway,
Yeah, there you go.
so
Okay, I got one question actually. If you combine Hatoful Boyfriend and Valiant Hearts, where would they have ranked?
middle pack.
Just like how the triple creature feature was like
23,
combined.
so it'll be at the same level as Bully. It would not actually have reached
Not that
heights of the triple creature feature or Return of the Obra Dinn.
Well, not that. I would imagine that.
But the next one is discussions for Discord. So I'm considering these different entities because they are different types of discussion systems. So in Discord has a lot more. There was ultimately 1,018 discussion notes in Discord with an average of 67.87 for each different thread. I'll give spoilers here. The creature feature is split up. So remember that?
Right.
So
I immediately went to check.
so what was the most discussed Discord game?
Wouldn't the logical thing be it's the same game? I mean Obra Dinn being the most one.
Not necessarily, because if it's the most discussed on the forums, that might mean people were going to the forums to discuss and not Discord.
It's either Link's Awakening or Doom.
I'm
Yeah.
actually going to say The World Ends With You, because one, I believe it had the most users who actually joined the thread. Two, the fact that it was nominated because a HowLongToBeat user died means the core users who are on Discord may have been more willing to discuss it.
I'm gonna stick with Obra Dinn.
I'm torn between Obra Dinn and Outer Wilds. I feel like it's gonna be one of the mystery games. I think I'll go with Obra Dinn for this one too.
Well, I can tell you that Leah was correct. It was Link's Awakening.
Ooh, very
There
nice.
was
Well, there you go.
On.
I should have swapped my things. I should have swapped my guesses.
Yeah.
There were 200 chats for the Link's Awakening. For Return of the Obra Dinn, there was only actually 21. For World Ends With You was 58. The lowest scoring was actually Inside at 12.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, wait, where was Out of Wilds? That was Diablo's.
54.
54. Okay.
All right, so I had the second most then.
Nowhere
Well,
near.
not the whole list, but of the people who guessed.
Yes.
Things.
If you want second, it was Final Fantasy at 158. And then third.
Understandable.
Probably mostly Alpha just talking whenever somebody posts.
Right. Yeah.
And then
I almost picked it for that reason.
The resident fan of the game, yeah.
And then it was Hatoful Boyfriend at third with 137. So a lot of pigeon love there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Well,
go.
For
Naturally.
good reason.
They were heartful for Hatoful.
I think there's pictures of my real life pigeons in that discussion as well. So.
There you go. Maybe you'll make your own pigeon game.
Oh, I could only dream of that doing that.
The cockroach game has to come first, though.
The cockroach dating sim that I've talked about, yeah.
True.
Someday.
Find love behind the fridge.
The good old Hatoful Boyfriend.
Well, so next one, the rating. I'm not gonna give the total because that's pointless. But in terms of the average rating for all the games, it was 8.25 out of 10. So, what was? Oh,
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the spoilers here as well. 2 games actually got the same rating for highest. So, what were one of the best rated games?
All right. Question: Is this just the rating on the website, or were you like taking ratings that people said about the games in the thread?
Rating from the website. So if you go to the each of the games, it has a rating. It's just the rating which is there.
I'm gonna
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening.
Yeah, I was gonna guess that as well. I feel like Nintendo, good old Nintendo goodness.
But it's gonna be 2 games then, Link's Awakening and Final Fantasy.
If we go with the second one, I'm gonna go with Link's Awakening, and if we want to try to get both, I'm going with Link's Awakening and Outer Wilds.
I think I'm gonna do Link's Awakening and Ori. No, wait, sorry, that's the second Ori. That's not the first one, right?
Yeah.
So maybe
It's the second Ori, yeah.
maybe I'll do Link's Awakening and Doom Eternal? Question mark.
Oh, I was really considering that. I like how we've just all accepted Link's Awakening. It's one of them.
I would say Obra Dinn.
I want it to be Obra Dinn, but I don't know if the gaming population feels the same as I do.
Well, I'm gonna give the answer now. So you were all wrong about Link's Awakening. That is not in the top.
It's crazy.
So the 2 top ones,
False confidence.
you have both. They have both been mentioned during these chats.
Ooh.
Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and Outer Wilds both got 9s.
There we go. I was thinking Outer Wilds might do it because it's an indie game. Only people who are more into it in the first place probably even go and rate it.
That's fair.
So
because I was thinking like Doom Eternal, there's probably like Doom fans who didn't like the changes who will bring the rating down.
yeah. So in terms of Doom Eternal, that got an 8.7. Return of Obra Dinn got 8.8.
Oh, quite nice.
Yeah, they got still good. Strong.
And what was the top rating again?
The top ratings were 9.
All right.
So yeah, nothing higher than a 9 basically. Now let's go to the opposite end. What was the lowest rated?
Hatoful Boyfriend come through.
Let's go.
I would say Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Hatoful Boyfriend is most likely the option, but I kind of just want to do something different. It seems too obvious, and also I don't know, just fun to do. I think it might actually be, unfortunately, Pony Island. I think some people might not have gone into it.
Yeah, it could be.
Wow. Okay. So you should have kept with the obvious. It was Hatoful Boyfriend. 6.7.
Yeah, okay.
I figured.
Yeah.
I wanted to try.
The world wasn't ready yet.
Yeah, Pony Island got 7.3, so that was the second worst.
Oh.
Sunset Overdrive got 7.9, so that was the third worst. So you all.
All right, so there you go.
I like how my 2 favorite games in that entire year were the 2 lowest rated ones. That's great.
This is why Matt doesn't play video games.
Yes, exactly.
Because Link's Awakening is too high and Hatoful Boyfriend is too low.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Okay. Yeah. We'll do backlogs and such. So I've got here both backlogged and their percentage ratings. I don't know if you wanted to go through all the percentage ratings, so I might just give you the answer to that.
Why not both?
You want to do both?
Why don't we have one guess for the most and one guess for the percentage?
Yeah, if you want to do it that way.
Wait, sorry. What is percentage referring to for this one?
Basically, I took backlogged, completion, and retired, put them together, and then just basically percentage them.
Right. So there's the raw number of how many times you're backlogged, and essentially what percentage of people who put on the website have it in their backlog instead of being played or retired.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, it is basically backlog divided by backlogs plus completion plus retirement. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of that, so she wants quickly give you the total. So total backlogs, it was 65,829 people with an average of 4,388.6, with a percentage rating of 50.13. So they are another thing. The backlogged values are different. So the percentage is different to The backlog. So what is the most backlogged game, and what is the most percentage backlogged?
Right. So I'm gonna say the highest percentage backlogged is Inside. On the basis, I bet a lot of people have gotten that game for free with like a random bundle, and then they've never played it, but they put it on the website. So a lot of people just have it sitting there without having played it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the same argument, but for Pony Island because it was in multiple itch.io mega bundles.
Well, that's pretty true.
That's for the percentage, I think. That's what you said, right? For your inside guess?
That's what I said was the percentage.
Yeah.
Because I can get bet the game with the most raw backlogs is just one of the really popular games that everybody purchased, kind of thing.
Zelda, Link.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think raw backlog is probably going to be, like we said, the most purchased, and I'm anticipating that being Link's Awakening. For percentage, I'm going to go with. I like the reason that you two had for Inside and for Pony Island, but I'm going to go with The World Ends With You just because it's been out for a long time on multiple platforms. So I feel like it's given people a lot of years to accumulate this game and not necessarily play it.
That makes sense.
Accumulate, I mean acquire, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's probably The World Ends With You and Link's Awakening.
For the most backlog for me, by the way, I'm going to choose Final Fantasy XII because it's, I think, the best combination of really popular but really long. So a lot of people haven't gotten to it yet.
Oh, that's another one that's on a bazillion platforms too, huh?
Yeah.
So
I'd say most raw amount Final Fantasy XII, highest percentage Inside.
I'm gonna stick with my original guesses. I'm
sticking to mine.
Surprised if Final Fantasy XII comes up at some point.
What'd you say for the most raw backlog, Matt?
Link's. Oh, sorry, that's not my name.
Yeah, Link's Awakening. I chose.
All right. I don't remember. All right.
You're all wrong. The most.
Hell yeah.
The most backlogged game was Doom Eternal with 9,627, and the most backlogged in terms of percentage, it was Sunset Overdrive at 64.79.
Really?
That is surprising.
Yeah.
I bet it's either free or was on Game Pass or something. So a lot of people just tossed in their backlog.
Game Pass, yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think I got it free somewhere for Game of the Month. So yeah, that
There you
does
go.
make sense. I was one of them.
It had to be something that got a lot free for a lot of people.
In terms of the other way round, with the lowest backlog was actually Bully at 868. However, I'll give them this.
That doesn't surprise me.
I used the main Bully function, not the Carpe Diem edition. So I bet most people backlog that version more than they backlog this one.
Okay.
So that's probably why that's low. In terms of percentage, it's actually Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening with only 37.4%. So a lot of people have actually either retired it or completed it.
Right.
That I kind of thought might happen because while the Link's Awakening remake is new, all the other versions are so old. I feel like if you have them, you've probably completed them at this point.
Yep. Well, so let's go the other direction now then. So completions. So in terms of completion, there have been 64,860 completions, with an average of 4,324 on a percentage of 46.58%. So again, same questions. What was the most completed game, and what's the highest percentage?
I mean, if Link's Awakening is the least retired percentage, there's a pretty good chance it's the most completed percentage. So I'm gonna go with Link's Awakening for that one.
Same. I'm not going for the completion percentage on that one, but it's gonna be the most completed.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this is for raw completions, not necessarily for percentage, but I feel like for raw completions, it's Link's Awakening.
Okay, well, I'm going with completions for Link's Awakening.
Yeah, same.
I think percentage, I'm going to go with Inside. It's pretty short, pretty simple.
For percentage, I think I might do Pony Island. I could see it being Inside too, but I feel like for the percentage one, it's going to be a short game.
Yeah.
What do I want for raw amount? It's also got to be really popular because since it's a raw amount, enough people have to have played it for it to be really high in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the wild one. I'm gonna pick Link's Awakening for both. One of them's got to be right.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
In that case, then, Matt, if you had reversed your order, you'd been correct. Inside had the most completions, and Link's Awakening had the most completion percentage.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So Inside had 10,969 completions, and Link's Awakening had 60.64% completions.
Right, because if only 34.7 is retired, unless people are, or not retired, backlogged, unless people are retiring at a massive rate,
Yeah.
it's got to be like a really high percentage.
So, in terms of lowest completions, The World Ends With You with 1,143.
No surprise there.
And the percentage completions was Sunset Overdrive at 30.82%.
I kind of figured that The World Ends With You would be the lowest because the game is basically stuck on either the DS, a phone, or a Switch version that I've heard other people have problems with.
Yeah.
Yep. So the final one of these ones, then we get to the big one, is retirement. So we've had retirements of 3,734 with an average of 248.93 retirements at a percentage of 3.29. So what was the most retired game and its the most retired percentage game?
All right.
I think my boy Hatoful Boyfriend's gonna be represented on this one. I think for percentage, I'm gonna go for Hatoful Boyfriend as the most retired percentage.
I'm also gonna go with Hatoful Boyfriend for the highest retired percentage because it has the lowest rating and people don't always like to complete visual novels. That just seems like a good 1-2 punch for a guess. For the highest raw amount, it's still gonna be a big game, I feel. I'm gonna say Doom Eternal. I'm gonna say people got that game playing the first one and some people had difficulty with it and they just gave up, and then a lot of people just didn't want it. But it is a sequel. Sequel might make it less likely because you're more likely to only buy the game if you like the first Doom in the first place. Actually,
Fuck.
this is a difficult one. I'm still gonna go with Hatoful Boyfriend for percentage. You know what? I'll go with Final Fantasy XII for most retired amount.
Ooh, I think
so long.
we're on the same wavelength for this one. That's what I was thinking. I'm between Final Fantasy XII and The World Ends With You for my raw retirements. I'll stick with Final Fantasy XII, I think. I think I'll do the same guesses as Roy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say as well Final Fantasy XII for the raw retirements, but I think I'm gonna go for Ori with the percentage. I feel like that's the sort of game that many people would start, but then maybe not then drop Metroidvania style.
For raw, I'm gonna say Bully, and most retired, I'm gonna say Doom Eternal.
All right.
Okay, so the most retired game in terms of raw was Outer Wilds at 602.
What?
That's surprising.
I can see that. Yeah.
The second was actually Doom Eternal with 507. Bully, this was the issue with not the right version, was the lowest with 87. Because again, I didn't use the new edition version, so that's why it's so low. In terms of percentage, though, it was Final Fantasy XII at 6.34.
All right, so my idea was right, but wrong category.
Yes. And Inside was the lowest at 1.14.
Makes sense, it's so short.
Yeah. But yeah. Damn. So, the last thing to talk about then. There have been 173 nominations for the whole year. Each time we got like a total votes of 1,620, 225 nominations because there are multiple nominations, and 457 participations throughout the whole year. I will tell you what was the highest voted for game, which was Valiant Hearts: The Great War, which got 40 votes. But there is 2 games above it which haven't won, but have had more votes.
Cumulative votes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you the second, where you're going to have to tell me what the first is. The second is Summon Night Swordcraft. So what was the most voted for game which hasn't won?
It's going to be a game that somebody keeps nominating every time but doesn't win, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Even if it doesn't get a lot of votes every time.
It gets a lot of votes, but it doesn't win, basically.
I should have stuck to Tetris, man. Really.
That's crazy. This is the year.
Yeah, this is the year.
You betrayed Tetris, and now Tetris is betraying you.
No.
Tetris 2K25.
The most voted for game without winning.
The problem is I don't even remember what games were voted for a lot of times.
I'm stumped for this, and I don't have my finger on the pulse at all.
I'm going to give you some information now. Do you want me to give you notes for completion, or do you want me to read a review of the game?
Ooh, I like the completion notes. I love those.
Okay, let's see what we can go from that. So let me just get there.
Mini guess the game here.
Yeah.
Let's go for this one then. So, Pineapple Z Boy completed in 9 hours 30 minutes. This is the main story run. I went for a couple of the extra loot areas, but I left half of them untouched.
Of the extra loot, what?
Loot areas.
Oh, areas.
Loot areas. So it's a game with loot of some kind.
9 hours. All the games that I was thinking were like big, chunky boys, like Elden Ring and stuff. So I feel like
This is probably like a roguelike or something.
I'm gonna say, wasn't there Borderlands nominations? I think
I believe there was.
that's my early guess here, a Borderlands game.
It is not.
Okay, cool.
I will say this.
There you go.
The only
Crushed.
game at the moment you can actually nominate for Borderlands will be Borderlands 3 and Tales from the Borderlands 2. Oh, New Tales.
But Borderlands could have been nominated, but yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
before we put the rule in where you can't put series in, we actually allow for the whole of the Borderlands series, so all the games got in, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
I'm reading for some of these and I was thinking, oh, these definitely make people it very easy for people who should know. But let's go for this one. So this is a main plus site. So this person took 9 hours and 32 minutes, and they've given 28 out of 45 Lambanda caches found, 62% achievements, 13 chapters plus credits.
Lambad.
So it's a chapter-based game.
Oh.
Lambda. Sorry, Lambda.
Half-Life.
Well, now I'm confident that I have not
Half-Life-
played this game.
Half-Life did win at some point, I think, so. Loot areas and Lambda. The fuck?
Well, it's not Blaze Blue.
80s?
I
think 80s won.
Lambda functions, which made me think of Transistor for a little bit, but I feel like Transistor doesn't have chapters.
Well, I'm going to give you the third one now. This, if you should know this, if you know this.
It's gonna be Tetris, man.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what this is now.
I love the loot areas in Tetris myself.
It's bumbless.
So this note is definitely going to tell you what game this is.
Okay.
This is from Hash Ishin. Took him 10 hours. Was a replay. Normal. All Lambda locations. Ravenholm using only the gravity gun.
So it is.
Oh, so it's a Half-Life game. It's,
Yeah. Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2.
It's Portal.
Get the fuck out, man.
Wait, I thought Half-Life 2 won before. Oh, Half-Life 1 won.
Half-Life 1 has won. Half-Life 2
Mhm.
hasn't. That's getting nominated.
Interesting. I've never
Fucking
played a
hell.
Half-Life game, so even that final clue, I didn't know what it was.
Why didn't I think one step more I could have gotten it? Like earlier?
You did get it.
Well, yeah, but I could have gotten it earlier.
It got nominated 5 times and won 51 votes. So
What the fuck? I have not played Half-Life 2. What the fuck are the loot areas? What are you looting?
I have no idea what they mean by that.
What?
I guess it's just
I don't either.
Any collectibles. Like they have like boxes and you just
Yeah.
break them open.
It's a loot area.
No idea what they're on about with that. Just give you an
Interesting.
idea. It constantly wins at least 10 votes. The only time it hasn't is in March with 8. Every other time it's been nominated, it has won at least 10 votes.
How many times
That's
has it been
crazy.
nominated?
5 times. It got
By the same
nominated
person?
February, March, May, June, and December. Yeah, I don't actually keep note of who nominated
Yeah, okay.
those, so I can't give you that details.
Yeah.
I
Wild.
can look it up later.
Matt is formulating his Tetris plan.
I am thinking. I'm putting the Tetronymous in my head together.
Just make a tetronymo that spells out Tetris for nomination.
It's gonna convince everybody.
People will vote for it, especially in April.
Haven't people already nominated Normal Tetris though?
I have
remember.
at least once for sure.
You've done Tetris once. You need to keep persisting. That's the thing. If you want your nominations to win, you just gotta keep persisting. It will
God
win.
damn it.
It's gonna win in March after this episode comes out.
Yeah.
Maybe Tetris become a big enough thing on the podcast will influence everyone.
It's gonna be pity votes, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the only one in the thread.
Hey, now I'll talk about Tetris.
Oh hell yeah, my best friend over here.
Blocks fall down, Tetris good.
Again, Tetris is like my family's
Yeah,
like, only game that everyone plays, so
yeah.
I will also.
I mean, that's kind of what Tetris is for like a surprising amount of people.
yeah.
I don't play video games.
It's like
I play
Tetris and Uno.
we are talking about Tetris again.
Yeah.
But to get back to the Half-Life 2 nomination, I guess I would say it will probably win when Half-Life 3 comes out.
Well,
No, never.
Prediction.
Wow.
Although there have been rumors about it.
Yeah, as always.
It'll be the month that Silk Song comes out.
Yeah.
At this point, I feel like Half-Life 3 might come out quicker than Silk Song.
Yeah, hard to say, really.
Well, like I said, Half-Life Alyx. So if you count that as Half-Life 3, it's already out.
Yeah. I'm in that camp.
That's true.
I'm in that camp.
But it doesn't have 3 in the title.
Yeah.
Oh, get the frick out, dude. It has 3 dimensions.
They could have called it Half-Life 3 Alex.
They could have. People would have complained more,
They
though.
Didn't.
But anyway, I guess that was our whole recap for Game of the Month. What do we think about the whole year in general? I've said before that
For the Game of the Month or just the year?
the Game of the Month year, because I said before that I liked the year before that more personally. 2024 wasn't a very strong one for me when it comes to Game of the Month. A lot of games that I don't care too much about. So I'm looking at a better year in the future. But what about Yal?
Well, we start out with Paper Mario, which I don't know if that's going to get you in.
Yeah, that's not gonna help me, you know.
Yeah.
Next year we're going to see Don't Care for Mario in there.
Yeah.
But
It's
I think the first half of the year had more stuff I'd probably played than the second half kind of deal.
I've got the list of 2023 up. It was a lot more Legend of Zelda. We had Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, so big, massive games.
Yeah.
But we also had Conker's Bad Fur Day and Fear and Dead Rules.
We had Metroid Prime was there, Barbarian's You, Guacamelee, Half-Life. That's where it came from.
Half-Life 1 was that late?
Guacamelee.
Yeah.
I thought Half-Life 2 was nominated early.
And Crypt of the Necrodancer. Oh, dude, 2023 was
Well, there is
golden.
a new Necrodancer game coming out. So maybe
Oh, yeah?
that'll come out and like Grift of the Necrodancer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's coming out next year. Crypt of the Necrodancer was on February in 2023. Grim Fandango was there as well. That's really good. Murder by Numbers. Hey,
Yeah.
Oh man, Grim Fandango, I wanted to play that.
You should.
I should.
You should.
I'm not sure how good I'll be at it, but I always think like one of the better point and click adventure games, honestly.
And me and Avatar, remember when we had last time, we gushed about Spiritfarer. That's another one. So
yeah,
I think 2024 had the Return of the Obra Dinn, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and Outer Wilds. But I'm in agreement that 2023 was stronger. There's a lot of games there which I enjoyed a lot more than this year. I won't say it's the worst year, but it's good average, I think, for this year, to be fair. It's a standard stuff which really happens. I'm hoping next year. I have no games this year, really. Last year, I went out and said, I'm getting Return of the Obra Dinn. But the 2 games I bought for Christmas, I don't buy too many games, are the Ace Attorney ones where you're playing the prosecutor. Maybe one of them. And Pacific Drive. So I have to wait and see.
I'll vote for that one.
We'll see when I get to it then. I could put that down. But first, I've got to get into my Yakuza game. I've been held back. I normally try to play in January, but I've been playing Baldur's Gate for the whole of January.
You're going to be having it's going to be a long journey, I think, right? Yakuza.
I think I'm at the end. Like I said, I think I'm at the post game now. I'm like, I've done 130 hours in that, and I'm hoping to make it close to the game.
Yeah, probably close to the end in that case.
Yeah, I'll stick to Tetris, my guy.
It's not going to be in the top 5 in terms of length of games I've completed. No, it won't be.
Man, why don't we have Yakuza Tetris?
Yakuza.
It's probably in there somewhere.
I suppose it probably
We've done 2 Yakuza games, Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza 0.
Do they have Tetris? Is that what you're telling me?
Do they have Tetris?
No.
Now I'm going to Google, is Tetris in Yakuza?
Fucking Christ. While you Google that, I'm gonna say community do better this year. I wanna see more interesting games. I'm pointing my finger at you, community. With a stern face.
It does not have Tetris, but Yakuza 6 has Puyo Puyo.
Close enough, I guess.
And the Puyo Puyo is based on Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Yes, that's a fact. Mm-hmm.
So, there you go.
Any more predictions? Any more thoughts about Game of the Month?
I think just Half-Life 2 will win at some point. I have got one game which I'm going to try and 2 games actually. I keep to the same games for Halloween, and I've got a game which I'm going to do for the Fool's Choice. So I might as well just tell them now. So the Fool's Choice, I'm going to do Thank Goodness You're Here.
Love that
I
game.
so want to play that so badly.
Oh my god, I have no idea what this is.
Well, being a Brit, I have to.
It's a very, very British game, yes.
It's up to Yorkshire, and I'm down in the West Country, so I'm not all that. I'm now up to goodbye.
Oh my god.
If you beat the game, in the credits, it show a little like a link to a website you can go to send in. If you send in like a self-addressed, self-sealed envelope or something, you can they'll give you a little present. And so I sent it in, and I got this as
oh my god,
as well as some Yorkshire tea.
Yeah,
but I love that game. I played it 3 times last
It's like
year.
a little patch.
Hold the fucking phone. You get tea for beating this video game?
While supplies last. I don't know if it's also, I guess, like mild spoiler.
Oh, damn, bro.
Surprised by what it was. But
I need to play this.
you have to, if you send them if you send them a self-addressed envelope. They give instructions in the credits about how to do it. But yeah, I love that game. I would play that if you nominated it.
Well, all I can say for that is Reggie's wife could learn a thing or two.
Yeah, whatever that means. But I'm sure you're right.
You have to play the game to figure that out. And so my Halloween one, it was Inside, but it won last year. So this time it's going to be Dead Space 2. Speaking of that,
I'm there for that. Okay.
Yeah, Dead Space, the first one. Oh, that's actually a good, strong category for a game that scared the shit out of me. Actually, to be fair, that one was insane. But yeah, I have no other big ones. Like I said, I will probably be nominating the Edgeworth one and Pacific Drive, but I'm just going to play them when I get to them. So I'll probably end up finishing quickly enough.
I don't know what I'm going to nominate. If I'm going to keep nominating Swordcraft Story, do something else.
I mean, apparently it got a lot of votes so far. So
the thing is, it got a lot of votes its first time, and then it kept going down.
You gotta build up the hype somehow. You gotta make use of your host position or something.
I've been trying.
Yeah.
I've posted some images, talk about it's my favorite, but nothing quite yet.
Unfortunately, the highest it got was in May, and it got 10 votes. You need to get
exactly
to win, so it's only been in double digits once. So
exactly.
You nominated 6 times, and it got 45 votes. So yeah, I don't see it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It got a lot of votes up there because it was nominated, not because it was gaining a lot of votes. Kind of thing.
Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. It needs to be known, and I say you need a good 2-3 years. It needs to be well known, and it needs to be something which people have just dumped on the backlog for it to win. Really.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that what was it? R2D2, I think it was played the. No, it wasn't R2D2. Someone in the Discord, I can't remember now, played the game and really liked it.
Yeah.
On their own, so that was cool.
Yeah.
That's all. Unfortunately, it's not one I vote for because I don't own it. So. Just FYI, if I own the game and it's in my backlog and I haven't completed it, I will vote for it.
Well, you can't get it. You can't emulate it. Just saying.
And I don't own it.
Fair enough. Well, time to bust out your Game Boy Advance.
I've still got that round, actually, to be fair.
Oh, well, I mean, I doubt it's that expensive. If you did want to get it.
You will not be able to leave this room until you have played this game. You have fallen into our trap.
Think that's us done, ain't it?
I think so. Thank you very much for bringing this insight.
Yes. Appreciate your diligence in compiling the statistics.
I'm assuming we're seeing each other again in this sort of fashion in a year or so.
I believe we will be. I am already collecting the data for 2025.
Hell yes. I'm looking forward to seeing at the end of the year how many votes my Tetris nominations are getting. So I'm gonna get on that. I'm motivated now thanks to you. But I think that brings this Game of the Month episode to a close. And we are all a little bit smarter than we started. So thank you for listening, everybody. I hope you'll hear us again. Leave your comments about your favorite Game of the Month nominations wherever you see fit. And
just some random stuff on the internet.
You'll figure it out.
Just graffiti on the bathroom wall.
Hopefully under this video somewhere.
Send me an envelope with British tea, and I will read your comments.
Do you want loose leaf or do you want bag?
And that's gonna be it for today. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Doodle bipski.
And now a word from Liza the Bird about the ideal playthrough of Hatoful Boyfriend. And that was a word from Liza the Bird. Goodbye.